And if you're not in the comfort of your home, you can join us via social media, particularly on Facebook and on YouTube. Just search for Clock TV, then you like, share and subscribe to our channel and our pages, and then join in the live stream. Now, today's conversations, as always here on the Koko Digest Morning Show, is going to be very interesting, as on the lifestyle segment, we're going to be talking about diabetes, what we need to know about diabetes, causes, preventative measures, and even how to manage diabetes if you are diabetic or you know someone who is diabetic. So please do well to inform a loved one, call a friend, text a friend to join in the conversation today. We're also going to be having a pretty extended online and print review segment, as we're going to be talking about some of the trending issues, like the fact that Gehe is having an issue when it comes to religious affiliations of the students. The same thing applies to Temasco and some other schools. We're also going to be talking about the sanitation courts. We're going to be talking also about the banditry, the rise of terrorism in Nigeria. So this and many more will be coming up on the Koko Digest Morning Show today. But for now, let's take our motivational quote for today. As always, we like to motivate ourselves and our viewers, and today's quote is by C.S. Lewis, and we're going to have it displayed shortly, as it says, "You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream." And this is by C.S. Lewis. Now, C.S. Lewis's words remind us that growth does not have an expiration date. No matter how old you are, you still have the ability to imagine new possibilities, redefine your path, and pursue dreams that excite you. Life is not a straight line. It is a journey with room for reinvention at every stage. This quote is here to encourage us to let go of the idea that certain opportunities are too late, as we like to say, or reserved for only the young. Your experiences, your maturity, and wisdom actually enhance your ability to set meaningful goals for your life. Each new dream you chase becomes proof that your potential is ongoing, not limited by age. In essence, you have permission to start again, try something different, or reach higher, because as long as you're alive, there is always room for new beginnings. Now, this goes to all of us in many different ways. Some of us may have dropped out of school and think that we're too old to go back to school, but the thing is, usually when we also think that way, we think that, oh, I'll be 40 years and I'm now in the university. But in the end, in that 4 years that you're going to spend in the university, you will still end up being 40. Time will pass anyways. But the difference is that you're going to achieve that goal. You're going to be able to pursue that dream of becoming whatever you want to become, or, pursuing that course that you want to also pursue. Time will pass anyways. And as long as you're alive, as this quote has told us, there's always room for a new beginning. This applies to even marriage. Maybe your first marriage fell apart and you think it's going to be difficult to start all over, or even your relationships or friendships or jobs. It's never too late as long as we're alive. And even for writers, some writers became very famous at the age of 60. Some of us may think that 60 is for rest and retirement, but once you're alive, as this quote has said, there's always room for a new beginning. So no matter what it is not too late to start over. I really hope that this quote has motivated you, because it has given me some inspiration to go back to certain things I really loved doing when I was younger, and I do intend to go back to that. So when I become a big woman, I know you cheer me on. Now let's take our weather forecast for today, which is brought to us by the Ghana Meteorological Agency, a 24-hour impact-based forecast for Ghana. Now, as you can see with the image displayed, the summary of this whole, this image is just to tell us that the weather over Ghana this morning will be misty and foggy in the early hours over portions of the coastline, mountainous areas, and forest areas. As the day progresses into noon, predominantly sunny conditions will be seen across all sectors with varying intensity of dry and hazy conditions over the northern sector, whereas the south experiences localized thundery showers from late afternoon into the evening. This is just to tell us that let us make sure to be strapped with an umbrella, with a jacket or a sweater to keep ourselves warm in the early hours of the day. And as the day progresses, it's going to get a little warmer. In the evening, it's also likely to rain here in the southern areas. So please make sure to stay safe. And also, if you're driving, as I always say, please do extend a helping hand to a pedestrian. Up next is the online and print review with my co-host here. Do stay tuned. You're welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show. And if you're just tuning in, it's time for our online and print review with my co-host here with me. I'd like to remind us to send in our comments to the WhatsApp number displayed onto your screens or to the Facebook or YouTube live stream. And when the phone lines are opened, I will do well to alert you so you can call and weigh in on the conversations. Joining me today are Clement Yabankwe and Peter Insia. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How are we doing? Weekend approaches.
Yeah. Okay, let me speak for myself. Up and grateful.
Divine selection as always, and you by grace.
By grace, yeah.
Yes. So what's going on? What is trending? What news have you picked up so far?
Yeah. Before Clement comes in, I want to say I like your dress, the color.
Thank you.
It's giving me that Christmas vibe. I'm still reminding my aunties. Yes.
The Christmas rice. Yes. Okay. Right. Clement, you were fighting with somebody backstage.
Right. Yes. So the trending issue was the game between Barcelona and Chelsea. Last Tuesday, I made it emphatic that we await the victory of the Blues, and indeed the Blues they were blowing. So as you could see, my laptop is actually blue. So I came well prepared, supporting Chelsea. It's quite unfortunate that Barca, upon all the struggle, Chelsea are almost Barca, as their name goes, as Barca. And their defender, who was trying to be the defending champion, also the captain, defended Sama, defense Nibuye.
Sound guy say if you lose talk, he will mute you.
No, the whole issue is I think we want to cheer Chelsea fans up. Yes, Barca made a lot of a lot of noise. So now they are silent; they can't talk again. We still want to tell them that Chelsea is the world champion. Yes, that's what it is.
I see Peter is also repping Chelsea today.
I'm not repping Chelsea, though, but then it's just the beauty of the game. It was intentional, allowing Chelsea to win. Chelsea has lost back to back.
How can you say intentional to allow Chelsea to win?
This match was held in high esteem. Everybody, before the match, everybody knew that Barcelona was going to win. You understand? But we just allowed them to win.
You allowed me to win to an extent that your captain had a red card. To that extent, and you allowed me to win.
That Chelsea couldn't have won the match.
This one.
So we played 11 against 10. 11 against 10. Imagine we had all our sets, 11 players on the field.
So what made you play 11 against 10?
We wanted you to win.
If you wanted me to win, the captain shouldn't have come to the field in the first place.
No, exactly. I mean it's the rule. It's the rule of the game. You understand?
There are one interesting thing is Chelsea would have scored more than 10 goals, but I don't know where they got the officiating officials from. Most of the goals were offside. I learned the sound man is saying that it's part of the game.
That's what they like to do. They just want to try to save face already.
But I mean, when we were going home, I liked the fact that people had converged watching the game. I mean, that's the beauty of it. It unites people. It unites the youth and all that. It was so beautiful. Anywhere that you get, you see people converge watching the match. It's so beautiful. I mean, it's high time we hold our Ghana Premier League to that level so that people also watch, our matches like how they watch the Premier League and all that. And so the government and private entities should invest into our Premier League to make it more attractive. And then I also think that, our ex-players, our Black Star players who have retired but still have the strength to play should, feature in these teams. They are Abontoa drafts, the Hearts of Folk and all that to make, our Premier League more exciting and attractive so that we wouldn't be watching Chelsea, Man United and all that. I wanted to talk about Man United, but then I don't want to go there. I followed this team for some time. I nearly killed myself. I nearly killed myself.
Glad you're still
then
here.
I came to Chelsea too. So that's why I'm not excited. Barca too. So right now.
But I found them camp that I'm about.
Wow, Mars. Okay. But when it comes to the football, the Ghanaian Premier League and the rest, most of the Ghanaians are not so invested in it because of me. When I'm talking personally, the way Black Stars have treated us over the years, they have broken our hearts back to back. It's now we are getting some sort of redemption, but it's like if you've done this thing for so long, it's not a one-time thing that will redeem you. It's not like the blood of Jesus that when you sin and you come, clean again. No, you have to keep. So until we see that. Every time there's a Ghanaian match or a Koko, Hearts of Oak match, and they are able to perform very well, we hear on the news that they are performing very well for an extended period of time. You'd see that a lot more people will get more interested. But me, my heart is okay. It's okay for my heart. I'm not doing it again.
So I think I'll leave the rest to the sports journalists. But what I want to say is that we thank God how the Ghana Premier League now is becoming, at least all is streamed live on local television. So I think it's a good step. And the new investment being introduced, the new packages being introduced for the teams is also a very good thing. So we just hope and pray for more partnership and collaboration to move Ghana Premier League forward. But I think the sports journalists will pick more of that.
He has a headache, but he will be fine. Yes. So we have a press release from Controller and Accountant General's Department. So let's have a display so we can read it. It's about some of the allowances that have been sort of cut, or there's a bit of a delay with regards to that. So let's have it displayed and then we'll take a look at it. So the press release is from the Controller and Accountant General's Department. It is just to tell us that, so I'm going to read it for us. So for those of us who may not be able to see it properly, it's saying here, the title is Delay in Payment of 2 Categories of Allowances. Now, the Controller and Accountant General's Department wishes to inform all stakeholders, particularly our colleagues in the education sector, that 2 categories of allowances scheduled for payment in November 2025 could not be processed due to a technical hitch encountered during the final payroll run. To avoid further delay in payment of November 2025 salaries for all Government of Ghana workers, processing of these allowances was paused. We assure all affected workers that the issue is being resolved and the outstanding allowances will be paid together with the December salaries on 18th December 2025. We regret the inconvenience caused and sincerely appreciate your patience. This is by Cephas N. Dosu, Head of Public Relations for the Controller and Accountant General. Now, this was released on 25th of November 2025. So this was 2 days ago, and we're just making sure to, let the public know of this and, keep calm. December means the salary will be more, and we even have the dates for the release of December salaries, which is also a good thing for government workers as we're preparing for the festivities coming up. When I heard of this on the news, I actually thought it was for all government workers. I was a little scared, but it turns out it's mainly for the education sector teachers. Workers. Yes.
So it means that they would have to endure for a while and enjoy.
Yes.
So I think I saw another communique from the Teachers Association. They are saying that the government shouldn't think there's Xmas bonus for them because it is something they are supposed to enjoy. And I think the Controller Accountant General would do justice to it. As they've said, they would. It will come. So let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that it reflects in December salary.
Right. So would like to hear from you, cherished viewers. What are your takes on this? What are some of your anticipations and, your suggestions on this issue as well? Now, let's go into what's trending now. What are some of the things you picked up this week?
Yeah, let me start with mine. God willing, tomorrow, the former First Lady of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Konadu Rollins, is going home finally. And a woman of integrity, a woman full of passion. Her smile alone will never be forgotten in the history of Ghana. He represented women and supported them. The civil rights of women was what she was preaching for. She has been the longest serving First Lady in the Republic of Ghana. I am in black because we are all mourning the former First Lady, and God willing, tomorrow we will all converge at the Independence Square exactly 6 a.m. To have the final funeral rites of our mother. We know he's going to join his husband, or God willing, tomorrow, and the founding members of NDC and our forefathers, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. There is one thing that whenever we talk about fallen heroes like this, it personally gets on me is, what are you also going to leave behind? When today you are no more, what will people remember you for? Today we are talking about our mother. Tomorrow, if you are no more, what will people say about you? Not only when you are in public institution, but the community you find yourself. What do you want people to say about you? what book are you writing for your own self? So in as much as we are mourning all these great people, we should learn something from it. We should be able to pick one or two from their lifestyle. Maybe yours might not be to fight for the rights of women. Yours might not be to be in governance or to be in those kind of positions. But yours is in a small way. What are you doing to support those people who don't have? So I think this is what should inspire us, especially the young ones coming up. I remember the conference we went. One of the speakers said that the reason why most African leaders are not celebrated is because most of the things they do does not translate in the life of their people. That is why they are not celebrated. So if you want your life to be celebrated when you are no more, then make sure that you are leaving legacy. Make sure that you are leaving impact. Make sure that when you are no, people remember that if not for the sake of this person, I wouldn't have gone to wherever I'm supposed to be. So tomorrow, Viera, as you said, we are all converging there, and I know Clock TV will bring viewers the live stream of the event. So if you will not be able to be at the Independence Square tomorrow, just sit by your TV, search Clock TV. We'll bring you all the details about our mother tomorrow.
Wow, that's very profound. And I think this goes to, we should actually try to send this message to our leaders that, as you mentioned, our fallen heroes and their legacies, we have Founders Day and things like that, but I think it's not enough when it comes to the younger generation, because it seems our academics, we don't tend to learn so much about our heroes, especially in the social and environmental studies that we used to have, unless you're learning something streamlined towards that. And I also think one reason this is happening is because of the politicization of a lot of things, because there was a time where we were seeing that even the legacy of Kwame Nkrumah was in a way trying to be erased and things like that. But I think that we should rather look at the good works they've done. Let's take away the political affiliations. These people have made such great impact in our lives as Ghanaians, in our systems, in a lot of things around us. Even, you know, putting the politics aside, these are people we should celebrate. Yes, Nana Konadu Ajimara-Rawlings was a member of the NDC, but a lot of women today, or a lot of people's mothers and grandmothers, can speak to the fact that she was very instrumental in certain aspects of their lives. And this is regardless of NDC, MPP matter. So why don't we rather, you know, in like a day like tomorrow, where after the funeral rites, maybe TV stations or even schools can have some sort of class for the students to learn about her life and legacy, where we can also learn something, because these things, unless you go out onto the internet to search for information about these people, you will not get it. And some people don't even know they have to do that.
Yeah, let me bring before Peter comes. The issue you are saying is very serious, because last in Parliament, may he so rest in peace, Honorable Murtala Mohammed, the former environment and minister, he said, he is a scholar, so he said that he has a library of the books of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. But as at then, he said when you go to the university libraries, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah books is no more. And that was a major concern. Yes, so as you are saying,
there's an allegation that his books were actually burnt, you know, taken out of the system.
Yeah. So as you are saying, why? Such people's books, such people's ideology need to be made available. But here's the case, the books we have in our library is the foreign books. And we've studied and studied and studied. It's not helping. So what is the way to go? Let's get back these forefathers, these people who had the plan, who had the ideology, who saw Ghana in the next 100 years, 50 years. What did they want to bring on board that they couldn't bring? It might be in the book. It might be in the plan. But here's the case that some of us, we don't even know some of the books of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. For example, if not for history and what we came to hear about him, you wouldn't have gotten any book about what Dr. Kwame Nkrumah specifically did. Because it's not available in the community library. It's not there. Unless you go an extreme to get it. So I think that, here, as you are saying, it is a call to the Ministry of Education that they should inculcate things like this in the curriculum. That there should be a day. The history that we are doing in Ghana, I stand to beef. I didn't do history though. But the history we are doing in Ghana had tax with colonial, and now it's not really giving you the actual details of what some of our forefathers came to do. So let us bring back the spirit of Africa. to our education system.
You know, I remember seeing a video of former President Rawlings where he was very young and he was talking to a group of people, I think, about how to plant their own seeds and things, and I think also teaching them how to shoot with a gun. And it was a little bit of a documentary, and it was just talking about his influence when it came to even agriculture. But here is the case, you don't hear much about that. All we hear about is, yes, the military regime and so many lives were lost and people were doing. But there were also good things that these people did. They made such heavy impacts that it still needs to be acknowledged regardless.
Exactly.
Peter?
All right, so for me, I think that in order to avert issues like this and replicate them, what we should do is we don't have to wait for such people like this to die before we celebrate them. Whilst they live, we have to celebrate them so that we're able to document their legacies properly. Like you're saying, we expect that they live a life that doesn't please them alone, but the ordinary Ghanaian, the people they are leading.
Yeah.
So how do we get their achievement and all that properly documented? We have to celebrate them whilst they live. Somebody like our former president, Koko, he's still alive.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Do we have to wait before he passes away before we come out to say he did this? And whilst he's alive, like Clement says, the Ministry of Education, the scholars that we have, currently when you talk about history, a lot of people have different ideas about history. This scholar will tell you, Ghana gained independence, this happened. Another person will tell you it is not true, this happened and all that. This is because we didn't do the right thing at the right time. Whilst the people were alive, we should have gone to them, document it's their biography, all that they have achieved. We document them, we put them down. So that when, in case we want to refer to them, you wouldn't get people saying, this was done, this wasn't done, this is not true, and this is true, and all that. So I think that we shouldn't wait for such people to die before we celebrate them. We should celebrate them whilst they are alive, to be able to get proper documents of their achievement, what they did that we think that the ordinary Ghanaian, the coming generation should also emulate to ensure that we have a better world, a better Ghana, a better Africa. So I think that going forward, we should identify those people, get a proper documentation for them, so that it wouldn't be that we are learning about our colonial masters. I did history, not a bit, I did history in SHS. So mostly, we don't learn much about Ghana and even African settings.
Yeah, by the time it's time for that, you're almost done with school.
It's about the arrival of the Europeans and all of that. They did this, taking away our good, our natural resources and all of that. And so Clement made reference to the conference we attended. Of course, the popular professor, Lumumba, he made mention that we are co-authors of our problems in Africa. You understand? It's high time we unite as Africans. So let me even limit it to Ghana. We unite, sit together, identify these people who are doing the right things so that you get them properly documented. Like you stated, if we have these legends going to the various schools, educating them, we've heard about you. How many people have seen His Excellency Kofo before? We've heard a lot about him. He's still alive. You understand? What is he doing to ensure that his legacies are impacted, that we do not forget about them? You made mention of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. It's sad that some of us, we didn't get to understand some of the things he did. All that we know is what we were taught in school. From the colonial era, fighting for independence. Even there's been a dispute about the founding fathers, who did this and who did that. If we had, contacted him whilst he was alive, properly documenting them, and then keeping them for future references, we wouldn't be at where we are right now, changing our dates from A to B and all of that. So I think that we should celebrate them while they are alive. And then Nana Kunadu Ajuma Rawlings, of course, she has done a lot since the Third Republic. She has done a lot. I mean, if we start to talk about her, we wouldn't finish.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Most of her achievements we can't find in any of the books. When you go to the library, we can't find it. Are we now going to sit down to write? And if there are disputes, who is going to stand and say, oh, this is it? But then when you try to write about somebody who is alive and there's a dispute, the person himself or herself will be able to correct, oh, this time it was here, this did this and that. And so history is very important. We learn history so that we compare it to the current happenings, and we don't replicate the mistakes that the old people did that didn't take them to the right direction. Yeah, so I think it's very important.
All right. And lastly, adding to everything you're saying, there's also another phenomenon that we didn't mention. Okay, we kind of mentioned it, being that the history we are getting seems to be from one perspective, which is very wrong, because most of the time it is backed by political ideologies or political interest. Because let's even compare. If, let's say, the previous government just left, everything they did, everything we went through with them, and this current government also comes and passes, and the history is written by this current government, it is very likely that they are going to write only the negative things. Just the same as the previous government would also write only positive things about themselves and then write negative things about the current government, you know, in a way to make them look better. This is something that tends to happen, especially with political leaders. Now, we need the history to come from many different perspectives so we get a fair idea of what exactly happened. Because three of us sitting here, if we are to write about Clog TV, we're not going to write the same things. But everything we are going to write will be truth. Now, if it is only Peter's perspective that is taken, that cannot be absolute, because his experiences are peculiar to him, your experiences are peculiar to you, mine are also peculiar to me, but all coming together gives a fair idea of how Clog TV, you know, runs, how our lives were in Clog TV. This is something that is happening so far, and like you said, Nana Konedu's achievements are nowhere to be found, or it seems that you have to go and do extra digging to find it. Why is that? This is the same thing happening with even Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. We get to that, yes. Some people did not agree with his ideologies, but we all have varying values and varying mentalities. If his values, this is what he says and he has put it in writing, another person has put it in his in writing, why can't we be given the freedom of choice to read and choose what we want to align with?
Sure.
These are some of the things that we need to also think about when it comes to documenting history. Because just as I mentioned that Nana Konedu has been very instrumental in the lives of women, as you also mentioned, there could be a bit of history where she has also not been the best person to certain people. These are all bits of information that are still very important and key to whatever we would be learning about her. As maybe a young woman coming up, I'm learning about her. She's my role model and whatnot. And I realized, okay, maybe this is just an example. Maybe she had a temper. She didn't control it very well. Learning that she had a temper, what can I also, learn about this to also control my temper and make sure that, okay, I don't behave this way. These are all things that help us so that we don't just have history skewed in one way and is very inaccurate, and then we are just going blindly into a future we don't even know where it will lead us.
Yeah, I think what we are saying, there was one man who said, it's not like they don't know. They know.
Yes, they know.
Yes, they know. They know. I just want to say, Peter mentioned of John Adjei Kofo, our former president, just because, there was an exclusive interview with him yesterday. One media house did that. And former president he said some three things I just want to say. He said, in our country, we seem to pretend to pay workers. So workers also pretend to work. That's what former president said. This is not for any other person, former president. So he knows what he's talking about. So if there is a situation like this there, what do we do to solve it? He says that the low performance we are recording in our institutions, in our production, is not because of anything. It's because states pretend to pay and workers also pretend to work. He also said on issue like this, he said, I am a politician and I know the nature of power play in politics. Even twins can destroy each other for power. So people like this are alive. So getting words like this from them inspires, makes you know your next move because he knows what he's talking about. The last thing he said, even about the President John Dramani Mahama's one of his policies, he said a 24-hour economy might work. It's new, but I am sure the government will be taking steps to ensure the civil service appreciate where the government is taking the economy and society to. So the issue is matched with the civil service. What point did he also make? Lastly, on President John Adjei Kofo, he said a work that 100 people can do, You go to a ministry and you would have about 500 to 1,000 people doing the same work. This is a president talking. He knows about all these things. So the question is, what are we picking? What dot are we picking to connect? Will you wait for such a man to leave before you go, oh, once upon a time, a president said A, B, C, D. But do we put an end to this A, B, C, D? So I think, Yara, as we are talking about the former First Lady who is going to be buried, God willing, tomorrow, let's also, as a country, as scholars, the academians, come together and see how they can document the history of all these great people so that those of us coming, it will be so easy for us to learn.
Right.
I think that's what I want to say. It's
also very beautiful to hear that he didn't just dog the 24-hour economy policy, but, he said something, instrumental about it. With the history of Ghanaian politicians, even if the thing is good, because it doesn't come from their party, they will want to, dogpile on it or something. But you see that even former President Koko is saying something good about it. These are things that we can pick up that, just because it's from another political party does not mean it is bad. It does not mean you should behave a certain way or make it look like it is bad or something. This is very beautiful from him. Yeah. I think, our political leaders can learn from this and be better.
I think I would like to pick an angle from what Clement said about President Koko saying that government pretend to pay workers and workers pretend to work. You see, there's a saying that when two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. So here, it is the ordinary Ghanaian that is suffering. And so I like the fact that during the Triple AG conference, President Mahamir's introductory speech, he made mention of decentralizing the controller and attorney general's activities and all that to ensure that people who take pay really deserve it. Not like somebody is somewhere in the village who is on the payroll and is supposed to be teaching from Monday to Tuesday, just go there and doing other things, maybe engaging yourself in other trade instead of teaching, because there's nobody there to check that really he is working to deserve the pay he's receiving. And so I think that it's a very good measure to ensure that each and everyone gets what he or she deserves. And sometimes in this country, like when you talk, you cannot talk without corruption. I mean, the number of people who are supposed to do, and then there are some agencies that the number of people needed to work, they don't have them. There are tables, there are desks that people need to occupy, but then you see 2 people trying to, take over the duty for about 10 people. And so it varies from, one agency to another. And so it's high time we do away with politics. We stop politicizing everything and ensure that the country, Ghana, is the first thing we are talking about. And so for me, I think going forward, I would like to suggest what the Triple AG is doing, that people from different African countries come together, share ideas. What are you doing in your country that is helping? How are you managing your debt? How is your public finance performance, like management, how is it going? So they share ideas. Oh, in our country, this is what we do, and this what is currently happening. Oh, this country, this is what we do. So why is this not happening here? Why is this not? So they share ideas. At the end of the day, they come together on a conclusion that this is what we are going to do to ensure that this and this happens. And so I think that other agencies and other ministries can also do as such, because as we are all here, we are praying for a better Ghana and a better Africa. We've all been crying about this colonial rule. We are still under colonization indirectly.
Yes, it's
we are
called
still under
neo-colonialism.
You understand? And so it's high time we come together as Ghanaians, as Africans, to ensure that we liberate ourselves. We are still under colonial rule.
Another thing that causes us to be there is the need for Western validation. We want the Westerners to come and say, yes, Ghana, you have done well. So it tends to cause a rift between us, as African countries, where maybe they tell you, oh, Ghana, your jollof is nicer than Nigeria, then we are feeling big, rather than why do you feel the need to come and tell me my jollof is better than Nigeria? They have their way they cook it. I have my way I cook it. It is still delicious to everybody who eats it. You see, if we also change our mindsets with some of these things, then we'll be able to work better and gel better. Because honestly speaking, yes, the Triple AG is a very beautiful thing happening, but there is the likelihood that someone would say, okay, this country is doing this, let's adopt it. Another person will say, why? What is so good about it? These are some of the things that Africans tend to have as, I don't know, I might just call it pride or ego, where it's like, even when the thing is bad, they still want to stand on it because it's theirs. But we haven't been able to open ourselves to learn new things without having to rely on some sort of validation. So this is something that I think our African leaders, or we, the generations coming up, we need to clear from that. Because there was even a saying that when these Western countries come and congratulate your president or give him an award for something, it means that he has done something very bad to the citizens that benefits them. These are all comments that come on social media sometimes.
As we are talking about history, you know, history is repeating itself again. Somewhere we read in history that in the 1918 and 1900, the scramble and partition of Africa. It's still happening. That you have the Western world, Ghana is rich in gold.
And the Eastern world, let's not forget.
You understand? So that scrambling, that scrambling is still happening.
Yes.
They are fighting. They need natural resources from Africa. They go refine them, bring them back to us. So, I mean, it's high time we stand as Africans. We have whatever it takes. Let's manage our own affairs.
I think, was it Kwame Nkrumah that said the black man
is capable.
Sure.
Capable of managing his own affairs.
Exactly.
Profound. Right, now moving on, there was a fire in Dansoman and it cost a life. There was a casualty. So let me just read a brief, bit of it. So it says here, a fire broke out in Dansoman Market at 0002 hours, that's at 12:02. hours at midnight, and firefighters quickly responded with support from 8 stations and 2 tankers. The fire was contained and fully extinguished by 5:21 hours. Sadly, an 8-year-old girl in the affected area did not survive. Several wooden shops were destroyed, and while nearby properties were also saved, the cause is still under investigation. But the cause was also attributed to a possible electrical fault. We have a bit of a recording that we would like to play. This is from the DO2, Desmond Aka, giving a bit of information about that. So let's take a look.
This morning, we were greeted with a devastating fire that ravaged certain portions of the Dansoman market here in Accra. In terms of percentage, you could say about 20% of the market and its contents made up of merchandise were completely burned by the fire. The sad news is that an 8-year-old girl was left in one of the structures that got ravaged by the fire, and unfortunately got burnt beyond recognition by the fire. So after firefighting, we are alerted to the fact that she was left by the mother who had gone out for an errand. And because she was asleep and when the fire came, she wasn't aware, she got trapped and as a result, burnt by the fire. On behalf of the acting chief fire officer and the entire management of the service, we want to express our condolences to the bereaved family and pray that the Almighty God consoles them and then help them in this difficult time. So we had a fire call at exactly 12:02 a.m. That is 2 minutes after midnight. And hurriedly, because our Dansoman station is just a stone throw away from the fire scene, within 2 minutes we got there. But the sad news is that by the time we could get there, the fire had already spread to other sections of the market, owing to the makeshift nature of the market. Predominantly, the structures and the sheds and the stalls are made up of wood, and looking at the stockpile of combustible materials in there, it was very easy for the fire to sweep through that section. So upon scene assessment, the duty officer had to call in 7 additional fire tenders, making a total of 8 fire engines. And under the command of the Accra Regional Commander, we were able to strategically and tactically combat the fire head on in such a way that 4 different positions were staged. And as a result, by some few minutes after 1, we had been able to confine the fire. We had been able to confine the fire from further spread. And so by 3:03, we had succeeded in bringing the fire under control. And
me talk to my mentor in us, and that's why my baby to make us so my baby yummy, to make us in the shaker. Around where say 11:30 in the Miyako, say the shop where she the company in Namada on the buy about 2 times. I mean, by this time, the wine there friend. For a corner, you will be a minimum. Also, to recover is saying, I was short a jet demo. You probably do a Jimmy wine. Miami Hoshi and shop 2 industrial machines that I want to speak to. And actually, the form of good morning. 1.5 years. I'm a machine. Miami Hoshi, the BRH, night I'm up. Machines in my brain, who are son of me, and so can you put me? My bonaka is be my fast than money. That's the money. I'm going to be friend. That's going to be once. I'm going to that's what marketation. You give me a share. That's insane. I'm there. And I'm so. Main flow be a minimum. A fire, I say, marketing. She give me test. I'm a fuck. I just say, I replenish a planet. They do an easy. The shop I share. You should gem cylinders. You asked me, papa, and easy plan. But says I'm a kind of son Bible. The kind of fast the money. It's meeting an answer. Send me a million quantity. Why did you 30 to 12? Not me, Baba, or shop. I sometimes saw the whole. It's a no, yes, so uncle. It's one of friends, a man. In fact, me one time, the course that time, me shame me because that time the sound of a friend for what means. Yes, friend as a man, it just the marketing ship. I started if you have a do her, I can't do have been a winning up. It's barrier. As well, old barrier when I met and I do there's no car. Young Casa, and I'm a fat car and I made a buyer. The buyer, but we are the judge the market. You move me industrial machines too, knitting machine, any industrial machine. Here was a pattern industrial machines so by me hand machines 3. Any fancy me mirror me confront to my ice.
So we heard from the Division Officer Grade 2, Desmond Aka, and we also saw some of the eyewitnesses there and the affected people. And we send our condolences to the bereaved families and also for the people who have also made quite huge losses. My co-hosts here, they don't seem to want to talk about fire education. They want to more like, I don't want to say attack, but more like, what's the word I'm looking for? Admonish us to, be more proactive when it comes to these things. So over to you, Clement. You seem to have a lot of things to say, so let's go.
Yes, so the point I was saying that this year we recorded a lot of fire incidents, and mostly it's the marketplace. So the question is, what is really going on at the various marketplaces we have? The next we'll hear this cantonment, and next time it's going to be here. So I think it's hard time we need to put good structure in place. Now, these markets we are talking about, was it built or set up by the ordinary traders? Was it set up by the ordinary Ghanaians? If the market was not set up by them, then who set up the market? Whoever set up the market, sometimes we talk about they didn't put the right fire things they need to put in place. So why is it that whenever a market contract is given to a contractor, before it's being given over or handed over to the community, all these kind of checks need to be done. They need to make sure that whatever they need to either fight fire, to either fight whatever disaster that will happen, it should be in place. So that at the end of the day, we will not come back and talk about issues like this. We will not come back for mothers to be seen on screens crying and they don't know their next step. Someone's talking about losing industrial machines, losing clothes, people's items. It leaves trauma. It leaves a lot of, they become so...
even losing your child.
Yes. It's a big issue. So I think that it's hard time that government need to put its feet down. If there is a market today and the market is not having what it takes to be in a good shape in terms of fire and all that things, government or leaders should step in, get a new place for the people to be, and put up a modernized market for them. Because we shouldn't wait for the market to burn down, to turn into ashes before we start reconstructing a new place. Whenever it happens like that, the right measure is not put in place. Because the various traders, our mothers, our fathers, want to go back to market quickly.
To get their money.
Exactly. So I think that the DCs, the MCs, and all these people, you know the market in your various district municipalities. Let there be a thorough check on them. The market is not in a good shape. You can get a different place. Let them be there. Then modernize the market structure for them. I think this is the way to go, because always if you should wait for a fire to happen, then we can't talk about it. Fire happens, we can't talk about it. Then Ghana National Fire Service would also be out there, up and down. I think that is not the way to go.
Right.
Let's be proactive.
Okay, so today I want to pick it from a different angle. Always we complain about, we blame government, fire service, and then we blame the ordinary Ghanaian. With this issue, I'll blame government. You know, this market was built by Rawlings's administration somewhere in 1991. One of our issue here in Ghana is lack of maintenance culture. Last Monday, I was watching the clock sports, and we saw that the Cape Coast Sports Stadium, it was in a deplorable state. Our issue here in Ghana, one, is lack of maintenance culture. A market built in 1991, and there has not been any major renovation to ensure that, because for 1991 to date is almost over 30 years, and there has not been any major maintenance. And this, we are talking about fire. The electrical wires used, even the whole idea they had to put that structure in place. Now the population has increased, a whole lot has transpired, but yet we didn't seem it prudent to go back and correct some of the mistakes or to go back.
Make it accommodate the larger population.
None. Since 1991, they are still using those electrical wire and those things. And here lies the case. It has happened. People's properties have been burnt down and all of that. It will go round, and come back to government. There will be a need to provide some fund to cater for these people.
I think, let me come in with this point. Sometimes to our markets, our mothers and fathers, they need to exercise patience with government. Sometimes government would like to renovate the place. But the question the market woman would ask is that where you are sending us is very far for people to locate the market. For example, we had onion markets around, is it Abublushi?
Yes.
Now they relocated them to a different place. Ordinary Ghanaians were complaining, or the traders were complaining that we are not getting markets this time around. So I think it should be two ways. So in as much as government want to modernize the market structures, whenever they come and they have a conversations with the market women, the market wherever, you should be able to understand them, that they are doing it for your own good, not for any other purpose. I think it should be two-way, but government need to take a step.
Okay, but then we don't have to wait. You know the writing. You understand? So sometimes you don't have to take in the complaints of the people. Look, at the end of the day, who is going to suffer right now? In as much as they are going to suffer, this is a government property since 91. And then if there was a call, there was an attempt to renovate the place and the people objected it, we would have known. You understand? And sometimes some of the issues
there's
like
usually
that,
small pushbacks that delays the
government should not take in that. But because the right thing must be done.
We have some places to. They've built new markets, and market women don't want to move in.
They don't want to go there.
They don't want to go there. I have incidents when you go to Shamad district. I don't know. I stand to be correct. If it's today that they moved in, fine. In Shamad district, there is a place called Intraban. They built a new market. They built a new market from when you are moving from Intraban to Shama. There is a place Intraban and Ituma. Those who know them might. They built a new market at the right side when you are going. It was built for so many years, and market women were not living in, but they were still in the old marketplace. So sometimes, as I said, whenever government wants to do a new thing, one, the communication is supposed to be clear. When the communication is clear, let's also understand them, because they have foreseen what we can't see. That is one thing. And as we are saying, everybody should be proactive. Government needs to be proactive. And aside government being proactive, our market mothers and the fathers too, sometimes you should also know that, oh, Charlie, where we are is not in a good shape. So what can we do? Maybe we shouldn't wait for government even to come there in the first place. What should we do? What can we do? Fine. Maybe you can't restructure modernize the place yourself, but gather yourself. Either you go to MC, you go to DC, or however you want it to be. You take that step before this unforeseen incident happens.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go.
Right. So I'd like to remind us that the phone lines are open. So we'd like to hear from you, our cherished viewers. We want to hear your fondest memories of our late former First Lady Nana Konedo Ajima Rawlings. We want to also hear your thoughts on the Dansoman fires, or even just the general fire outbreaks and the frequency that we've been seeing so far. And yes, to add to what you're saying, you mentioned that this market had been constructed since 1991. And, we talk, some of these things, we talk about the government, but we need to be realistic about the fact that it's not the government that is there with you. You are the ones in it. If this thing was created or established in 1991 for a population of about 1,000 people, even 10 years down the line, that 1,000 could become 1,500. Exactly. 30 years down the line, that could become 20,000 people. You, the people in there, with more people coming in, more people moving into the Dansoman enclave and whatnot, coming there to patronize the goods. The market kings and queens and the terminologies used for the leaders, even if the government does not intervene, you go around, you take small taxes and whatnot. Or I'm not sure of how the process works there or how the system works there, but why not sit with the people and tell them, market, over 35 years ago, you see market, it was for 1,000 people. See, I drew 30,000. Space now, I say, the places that were walkways have become places for vendors. Then you sit down with the people, if it means even putting together some contributions to start something, because we cannot always say that the people will not agree, they are not getting market. Even if they start in bits where maybe they divide the market into 4 quarters. The first quarter is being renovated, so maybe you can go and pitch on your friend's shop for maybe 3 months to have that place. Even it doesn't need to be ultra modern, because definitely the money you're making is for your livelihood and whatnot. But this is where you are also doing your business. This is your office, and if your office has become a hazardous place, your goods, everything that you do there could, just like in the fire, you could lose all of that. So if they start quarterly, they are, doing a little bit of renovation, even if it is just doing a rewiring, installing some fire extinguishers and things like that, or even just making sure that the stalls are no longer wooden, maybe some cemented stalls and things like that, properly ventilated, it would help. Because every day we are saying Abayin, but look at the list, the myriad of things Abayin has to do. Abayin is not sitting there with you. They will come and bring you relief items. After a week, you are forgotten. On to the next problem. So you that you are sitting there, what are you also doing? What are you going to put in place for your own well-being, for the safeguarding of your well-being? Because now the market queen of Dansuman right now, somebody can say that she's responsible, or the market king, whoever is in charge of the place, is responsible for that life that was lost, because this place is under your rule or jurisdiction, which that person too would not like to hear it, because Obekas and Nami Maeding. You see, we need, like you said, they need to be proactive. We all need to brighten. My mom would say, brighten the corner where you are. If the place is, too small now and there's space to expand, even like you said, speaking to the MCs, DCO, Pacha Market, he said, Abe too small for us. We need a little bit of space. Maybe there's some land, just beside it. If there is an agreement, they extend the market for it to accommodate all of you. These things would become less.
Yeah. Peter, look, I just want to say one last thing. Okay. You introduced something, and I'm so much interested in it, which is everybody need to take good care, or need to be very intentional about your office space as an individual. Marketplace is the office space of our mothers and our fathers.
Yes.
In as much as you go to the banks are their office space. When you go to a bank, you'll not see a bank's office space clouded with issues and other things. So you end up respecting them so much. Why? Because their office space are in a good shape.
Yeah.
Very welcoming. It can be that it was done by the organization. It could be that the individual himself realized that, why don't I add this to it? Let me seek permission from my boss. Am I good to go? If I'm good to go, then I do it. Let me equally link this issue to even some of our cars on the street. We are still making, I like the point you introduced, making the point that let's see our workspace as our office place. There are some cars on the street in Ghana.
The last time I picked kill you before the accident.
The last time I picked the car, but when I look at the seat in the car, Sarah, I need to get down and I pick a different one. Why? Because we are not treating it as our office space. And this is one of the ideology that we need to put or inculcate in the next generation. That any place you find working, see the place as your office space. What you wouldn't expect someone to do when he comes here, don't equally do. Make it so clean, make it so neat, so that everybody will be so much willing to enter. Today, sometimes when you order for a ride and realize when you see the car come, realize the car goes to the bush, you can even cancel it.
Yeah.
You can cancel it and let the car go.
Because if the car breaks down, the
yes. So in as much as we are talking about this fire and the market-related matters, we still want Ghanaians to understand that wherever you work, let it be attractive. Sometimes, yes, as you are saying, we are waiting for government. But if government is not coming, what can you do? What can you do as an African? As you said, Pencil will tell you, brighten the corner where you are. So where you are, what are you doing to brighten the corner? So if it will take 50 years for government to step in, will you still be there waiting for government?
Now, so, yes, I also see it from this perspective. This very morning, we are talking about history, documenting, legacies and all of that. Now, I like the fact that you made mention that if government is not coming, the people themselves should ensure that. Prior to this conversation, we made mention of something that the people are there for money. And that is the sole, reason why they are there, money. So however they are getting the money, that's what they are concerned about. Their safety, they are not, most of them are not concerned about their safety. What they are concerned about is the money. How am I going to get money? Where am I going to put my tomatoes? Where am I going to put my force bill to attract customers? That is what they are looking at. And they say two wrongs does not make one right. You understand? And then when things like this happens, if you are taking it from political perspectives, when things like this happen, people tend to blame the party in power. You understand? And so what government might do is that, so for me, I am looking at it from the fact that I'm not sure most of the properties owned by government are properly documented. that yearly it is being reviewed to know that, oh, this market was built in this year, this market was built in this year, this property was built in this year, and that we need to undertake some form of maintenance or something. It will shock you that the people at Dansoman, the queens, the leaders, do not even know when the market was built. All that they are concerned about is how to get customers, how to make money, how to be able to repay the loans they went for, and all that. But the well-being, the safety of the people themselves, they don't care. All that they care about is the money. And so that the reason why I made mention of government is that if you are able to properly document the properties you have and the years they were built, and you know that this was built in this year, and every 10 years, like you stated, or 5 years, there need to be a form of maintenance culture, renovation to ensure that the people there are safe. It is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So if me, the ordinary Ghanaian, occupying the space, do not know the essence of keeping the place clean, ensuring that this is done, and that's why we have to enforce the laws. We have the laws, we have the rules. It shouldn't be beautifully sitting on the papers without enforcing them. Every day we have laws for each and everything here in Ghana, but we are not enforcing them.
Yeah.
Like people will say, you have to know the law to break the law. It's high time we do away with some of these things. Government should have a long-term plan. We should know, as ordinary Ghanaians, you should be able to go to the internet to see the number of properties owned by the government, the year it was built. For me, I'll be frank with you, if not for this issue, I don't think I'll go to the internet to check when this market was built and all that. It's not fun. So, I mean, there should be more of education, there should be stakeholder engagement and all that. Like Clement was saying, if government comes down, whoever representing government, go to the marketplace. If government has been able to identify, oh, this one, yes, we need to renovate it. You tell the people, this is it, we need to renovate it. I don't think they will say they won't go. Engage them. What is the best way? How best can we solve this issue without you being affected? They will understand. They'll bring out their ideas. Stakeholder engagement is very paramount in every, national development and agenda. Just last 2 weeks, we were talking about some of the overpass, and Clement made mention of the one at Kwashiman. What stakeholder engagement went on? Did they engage the people to ask them where is feasible for the overpass? Sometimes we understand that there are unforeseen challenges, or sometimes technically, where you expect that some of the things are supposed to be, it wouldn't work. But when you engage the people, you tell them, we understand you, but this and this and this, they will understand. So you do things without engaging the people. At the end of the day, we are all looking for money. And so if I squat at somewhere, I'll be able to get money where a car is supposed to pass or pedestrian lane, I'll squat there and do it. We have the laws, they are not enforcing. Just last 2 months, the Accra mayor, we saw that they were sacking people who are on the lanes to ensure that Accra become. Go back and see Kaneshi, Accra. They are still there. They are even getting closer to the main road. They are still there. So it's like we take initiative just 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we forget about it. And I know that some form of payment and monetary things went on, because Kaneshi, sometimes you get there, you see gentlemen in their tax force. Those people, I know they were paid. So you just go there.
Allegedly, please.
Yes. I'm not sure they will be there the whole day. We Clement and myself, and I think James, we went there and we interrogated them. They didn't want us to put them on camera. So we asked them the time. They said they come there at dawn, leave there late. And you think they are not taking money? They are taking money. And so some of these things we need to plan them properly.
So the money he's talking about is not like bribe or corruption, it's salary. That's what he's trying to say.
Or maybe we'll call it incentivization.
Exactly.
But you mentioned that these people are there for money. But we need to stop justifying certain things. You are there for money. But here is the case. You are your office, as we've termed it, is so close to maybe a place where there is a lot of smoke coming into your office. You don't even have a window there. You go home, you always have chest or lung infections. And you are sitting there saying, "Media, I'm here to make money." But this money is going into your health all the time. Now, I don't want to sound insensitive, but when it comes to, okay, even the BAT nullifies, but I really don't want to sound insensitive. here is the case. There's a life that has been lost, right? If these people, over 30 years now, you've not renovated this place, you also didn't have that mindset that, okay, this place, what are the points of exit if at Torrential be better? They don't have that kind of mindset. If these people had that mindset and they did something small here and there, are we sure that whatever casualties were recorded, these people couldn't have escaped? Because I remember we spoke about one of the Makola fires some months back, where the fire service officials were telling us that even access to the places was very, very poor. This was because it was so congested. Now, if these people are coming to, fight the fire and they can't get in, what about people stuck in there? How do they also come out? We are talking about the fact that we are here for money and the rest, but we also need to think about our safety. Think about how best our office or our environment can also serve us, because in the end, if something happens, this money you want to make, because maybe clearing space for people to be able to pass, for you yourself to be able to pass when there's an issue, you didn't do that. Now the issue has come, it has locked you in there, your life has been lost. These are all things we need to think about, and not just, you're here for money, you're here for money. The money, it will come, but we need to also make sure that we make sure this money is coming in the right ways and serving us in the right way. Because if every day this money you are searching for, you are taking it to Kolebu, what is the essence?
Yeah, right. I think we've talked a lot on this very issue. I just want to say one thing. Is it always the point that we need to wait for government to come in issues? Is it always the point that we need law enforcement agency to enforce the law? Is it always the point that we expect someone to come before we do the right thing? These are the three questions.
So
we want to build a system that works.
Yeah.
We want to build a country for ourselves. So why would you like to do the wrong thing and expect someone to come and correct it? And you'll be the same person to blame. So, Era.
So these questions are over to you, viewers. The phone lines are open, so we'd like to hear from you. We'd like to hear your thoughts. Should we also always wait for the government to intervene before we, take proactive steps? Or should we also take our own proactive steps, the necessary steps, to help ourselves in the long run? Now, the next trend on the list here is the Wesley Girls issue with regards to religious affiliations and modes of worship in the various schools. Now, this comes on the back of the trending issue about Shafiq Osman suing Wesley Girls for the sort of infringement on the rights of Muslim students. And, it's been going on, conversation has been brewing, and it's basically that Wesley Girls Senior High is a Methodist school, was founded by the Wesleyan Missions, that's the Methodist Missions, and it is predominantly a Methodist school, but there is conversation about some sort of religious intolerance, and this is also happening in Tema Secondary School as well, where I think Omar Isanda also posted a lengthy account of the fact that the old students wanted to put up a sort of mosque for the students on the campus so that they have a place to worship, but there seems to have been some sort of embargoes placed on that. So there are conversations around it that students should be allowed to worship, whatever, mode of worship, whatever religious affiliations you have. And then there are some that are saying, if you go to Rome, do what the Romans do. So I would like to have your takes, especially you viewers. We want to hear from you. Is this a Wesley Girls issue, or it is something happening in all the schools? Those of us who went to secular schools, they use the same place for everything. There is no, you have to be this or you have to be that. Everybody at assembly, we read the hymn book, you sing the hymns, do your assembly, march and go. Those who are Muslims, they have a place to worship. Those who are Christians, they have a place to worship. Is this happening in the Catholic schools? Is this happening in the Methodist schools, Presbyterian schools? Which are the Basel Mission is a Presbyterian. Okay. So is this happening in all the other denominations? We would like to hear from you. What are your thoughts as well? So gentlemen, what are your thoughts?
All right, so I think I would like to go before Clement. And yes, you've given the background, but then this issue as we speak currently is in court, Supreme Court. So I'd like to, in as much as you've given the background, I'd like to also run viewers through the background. And so the issue is about the plaintiff, Osman Shafiq, and then the defendant right now as the Attorney General representing Ghana and the Ghana Education Service. So what is the plaintiff saying, Osman? So in a suit filed by legal practitioner and law lecturer Osman, averred that the school's admission process mandates signing an undertaking that includes an institutional faith clause, which significantly affects non-adherent students, particularly Muslims. The school, it said, required these students to participate in Christian practices such as attending Methodist Mass, prayers, and special Christian events. By doing this, the plaintiff said Muslim students face disciplinary actions for possessing Islamic items such as the Quran or the hijab, and were barred from observing Islamic religious practices, including Salat and Ramadan. It further alleged that the school does not recognize Muslim students equally compared to their Catholic or Anglican peers, effectively treating them as a second-class student. And now, what is the defendant, the Attorney General, saying? So from the Attorney General, so in his amendment statement of case, the AG argued that Wesley Girls High School was owned by Methodist Church and not the state, hence had the right to practice its religion in line with the Methodist Christian faith. He added that the school was entitled to government funding despite its character of religious ownership. As a result, he was of the view that the state could not take away the religious right of the the religious right of the school simply because the school receives government funding. And then the Minister of Education has also spoken. I know we have the video. And then the Christian Council and Catholic Bishops Conference has also released a statement. And this is what they also say. Sorry.
Okay,
so you can come in as I look for the...
Yeah, so there's a statement released by the Christian Council and the Ghana Bishop Association that's a Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference. This is what they are saying. They are saying that the schools was built on purpose. Let me try to paraphrase and also make my submission. They already are saying that the school was built on purpose. And on that grounds, will the school stand? So if government comes in to pay salaries for workers, to take some help in the curriculum and take certain cost things from the school management, that does not mean that government have sole authority of the school. There is another school of thought, or people are saying out there, that let's look at the genesis of a mission school. What is a mission school? And they are saying that mission schools are built based on religious belief or faith belief. It's built based on faith system. So if the Catholic school have built a secondary school like the Adi school in Cape Coast, they built it based on their faith belief. So the whole idea of that school is to make sure that they train people in the likeness of their faith. And they use that as a means to propagate the gospel in their own faith system. So when you go to such institutions, everything there is according to the beliefs of that very church. When you go to a Methodist church, or a Methodist school, let me say a Methodist school, you do everything in line with a Methodist school. Even if you're a Catholic, you need to do everything in line with a Methodist school. It's not only the Islamic or Muslims people. Even if you're a Pentecost, you have to do everything in line with a Methodist school. Unless maybe you meet a headmaster or a head of institution who who is very, very, how should I say it, who would very obey or respect other religious belief in terms of Christianity, who would allow other people to meet.
Yeah.
But aside that, even in the Christian community, if it is Presbyterian, everything is done in line with Presbyterian. You only sing Presbyterian. Why? Because that was the faith. That was the reason why it was built. And this mission schools has existed for years. It wasn't today. The mission schools we are talking about here, Yara, it's not only about Christians mission school. We have Islamic mission schools. So this conversation out there is not only about the Wesley girls, being it a Methodist mission school, and the plaintiff. But this is a conversation about what mission schools is all about. But what is the next generation? What is the next phase of the mission schools we have in Ghana?
Right.
How is this issue going to bring what we call the unity in religious affairs in Ghana? How are we going to merge governance with religious system? 2, is this issue not going to bring a situation where other missionaries would now be deterred from investing in the country, in other projects? That is another conversation. Now, the president met the Christian Council and appealed to them that let the Christian Council or the missions, various missions, help in picking up this Agenda 111 hospitals. If this issue we have here now, Wesley Girls issue, is not carefully looked at, it's going to bring a lot of future problems. Where the missions we have will not be interested in taking up governmental projects. And everything will now be on government. As I said earlier, we have Islamic Mission School. So let's ask ourselves, the Islamic Mission School, do they allow Christian practices in the Islamic Mission School? That's another conversation to look at. If the Islamic Mission School allow Christian practices, then the Christian Mission School should equally allow what? Christian practices. If Islamic Mission School do not allow Christian practices, why don't they allow? So the conversation should be on both sides.
But you know, when it comes to these mission schools, the core mandate of the mission schools was mainly for the formal education, even though one way or another it still traces back to religion, in that they wanted to have the younger generation learn to read and write, to be able to read the Bible and, you know, propagate the gospel and all of that. But here is the case. We are how many years down the line from independence? 57 or 8? Yes. And now these schools are basically public schools. Yes, they still have the affiliation to the various missions and, you know, denominations. But I don't particularly have an issue with mission schools having, you know, students from various religious affiliations. What is it the plaintiff or defendant? What Shafiq Osman mentioned in his in the writ was that they get punished for, you know, having their Quran, you know, hijab and whatnot. That is where the problem is. If you are a school, you're going to have people from all walks of life. Now, even I think I think I'd have to check again, but somebody who, from the Muslim perspective, also mentioned that when you go to the Muslim schools, you will wear the hijab, you will cover up, you know, when you're in Rome, do what the Romans do. And this was just to say that, you know, they are training you in the way, like you mentioned. But here is the case. We're talking about punishment coming in. I remember seeing comments, and some of the old students even mentioned that they don't tolerate other denominations. Everything must be Methodist. And the problem now is that you can have your practice. Yes, we are a Methodist school, but don't infringe on the rights of the people. From lower primary all the way to SHS, we have clubs and societies. Why not give them this opportunity to have a club where because let's be honest, these schools don't usually have a larger population of other denominations, if we're being honest. Like, let's use the Islamic mission schools. You're not going to have 90% being Christian students. It's the opposite. 90% are going to be Muslim students. Now, the 10% left, these people equally have a right to fellowship. If it is a small Christian club, SU, jumble all the Catholics, Anglicans, everybody, whoever they are, together, that, okay, we know you worship so and so, and this club has been made for you. You can have your meetings. Okay, Christians usually worship on Sundays, right? Some also worship on Saturdays. So between these days, we've given you this day. You can do your worship. Nobody is going to fight you for having a Bible. No student. So even because if it becomes too bad where they are getting punished, what happens to the discrimination among students? Now, maybe a Christian classmate will take the friend's Quran and burn it, that you are not Methodist. And these things are going to become things ingrained in them. So the point here is, if you have a hall, let's say an assembly hall, Christians worship there on Sundays, what stops you from allowing the Muslims to also worship there on Fridays? Because even in the end, that hall, they use it when they have their, what's the name, entertainment programs and freaks. They have everything there. Yeah. Why not just accommodate these things? How long are they even going to be there?
So Yara, Peter, I just want to say this thing very quick. But the question is, what is the reason behind the establishment of a mission school? And when you go through the Christian Council statement release, he said it was established based on the faith system. Faith system.
Yes.
It's not established for any other purpose, for the faith system. So it becomes more of corporate social responsibility. And normally they look at where their church members are, normally, and they establish it over there. So if they establish, let's say, the Wesley girls to be able to train ladies in the manner or the ways of the Methodist Church, and assuming you are from a different denomination and you want to come to Wesley girls, what it means is that you are ready to adhere, to obey, and to go by the ways of the institution. So it's like you don't come in to tell us what you want to do, but you come in to conform to the rules and regulation of the institution.
Right.
It applies to, let's say, the Catholic schools, the Islamic schools, and everywhere. That is when you're making a point, you are like, when you go to Rome, do what the Romans do. I was going to use the angle of when Jesus Christ, they asked him, should you continue to pay tithe or something? It was like, whose pictures on it is Pilate? Give what belongs to Pilate to Pilate. Give what belongs to Caesar. So what is the way to go in this issue? Yeah, right. If this issue is not handled carefully, you see, our neighboring country, our brothers and sisters in Nigeria, what is the situation happening there? It is a banter of Christianity and what?
Islam.
It's Islamic religion. So if this issue we are talking about today is not handled well, carefully, going back to the drawing board, I don't know, I am so much interested in going back to the drawing board. What was the reason behind this establishment?
But you see, Clement,
we have, I'm coming again, we have so many institutions. We have so many schools. We have so many public institutions in Ghana. So it means if you decide to come to Clock TV, you need to abide by the rules of Clock TV. Clock TV, our main motive is beyond the policy. We don't do politics here. That is Clock TV.
Yeah.
So if you are ready to work in Clock TV, meaning that you are not coming to do politics.
Yeah.
If you want to do politics in Clock TV, you walk out. That is the norm here.
Yeah, but Clement, I want to draw your attention to something.
I'm still coming.
Okay.
That is the norm here. The point is, people out there, or scholars and other people are of the view that, well, if you want the mission school to probably accommodate other religion or other faiths in that very school, then it will no more be known as mission schools again. Its rights foundation would now be eliminated. It will change automatically. It's no more a mission school again.
Okay.
That is what people are saying. So I think that the various leadership, the various players, in as much as, you see, the next thing we are going to see is the Islamic community talking about the mission school of the Christian community. The next phase we'll be seeing is the Christian community talking about the mission schools of the Islamic community. How are we going to merge this thing?
Right.
We have existed together in a very peaceful society where Ghana tolerates all religious bodies, all religious faiths. So I think that should be the way to go.
So, you see, you mentioned that the schools were established based on faith, right? Now, if we go back into the Christian faith, we know that Christ taught us to love one another, right? And here is the case. There seems to be a form of, for lack of a better word, or maybe to make it more than it seems, some sort of persecution. Because yes, somebody is a Muslim and has come to a Methodist school and owns a Quran and whatnot, and they are getting punished for owning a Quran. No, that is not what Christ teaches, right? We are to be open and love one another regardless. We heard of Christ eating with the Gentiles and all of that. We are not saying that the basic foundations of the schools should change. We are saying people of other denominations and walks of life will come to your school because it is a public school. If you make it a private school where you can streamline the people you want to admit, then that is a different issue. But here is the case. It's a public school open to the public. Now, it's being open to the public. People are going to attend the school. Faith, you aligned with your faith or not. Even other denominations, like I mentioned, I saw that some of the old students were saying other denominations are not tolerated there like that. Just that even here with Shafiq Osman's complaints, it was that the Muslims are even less tolerated as compared to the other denominations. But the whole point is, once you have people from other denominations or other religious faiths coming into the school, they are not asking for a cathedral in the school. They want the freedom to also worship. This is not taking away the general teachings that maybe, let's say, there is a Methodist hour, we are teaching Paul Wesley's hymns and whatnot, where it is mandatory. After they learn that, give them their space to go and also do what they need to do. Because how would we also feel if, in general, I'm not even going to limit it to maybe we go to a Muslim school or something, you are being persecuted for your faith. Even now, we see that happening to pastors, and it hurts us. So now you are in a school. You are here mainly for formal education, mainly for higher learning. It happens that religion is a part of it. What stops the school's, management from giving them the right to worship without punishment? That is the problem. So Christian girls in Islamic schools, you are allowed to wear a hijab, or you are made to wear a hijab because that is what Islam says. You are in an Islamic school. But if you are being punished for being a Christian now, or for maybe holding your small praise and worship, that is an infringement on your rights, just like in the other way around, where other denominations and Muslims in the school are also being punished, which is unfair to them. It is an infringement on their rights. And we have our education minister making a comment about that. And so let's take a look and then we come back. Peter seems to have a lot to say.
Let me also use this opportunity in debating the budget, since I speak as the present Minister for Education, that there is some ongoing debate on restrictions on Muslim students in Wesley Girls, which conflicts with international human rights standards and even standard expected of us in Ghana's constitution and Article 33(5) and 26(1) of the constitution. And then to assure our colleagues that we have a duty to uphold the rights of every Ghanaian child and to uphold the rights of every Ghanaian citizen. No right is divisible, and that we will not countenance any action by any person to deny any Ghanaian girl the opportunity to profess or practice any religion. Mr. Speaker, let me conclude. Mr. Speaker.
Right, so that was our education minister also talking about the fact that it is an infringement on the rights of the people. You don't have to punish them. Allow them, but you can still impose your belief on them. Just allow them to also, because, how big of a deal is it?
Yeah, so that is the exact point I wanted to make about the Constitution. What does the Constitution say in terms of religion? And then this issue about Christianity and Islam. What is the difference? We are all worshiping God. And then when you read the Quran and then the Bible, there's no difference between these two religions. So what at the end of the day, we are all worshiping God. I mean, we've lived together peacefully for a very long time. And I would like to go back to history as well. Since this morning we are talking about history. You know, before the 1980s, these missionary schools were being controlled and managed by these missions.
Yes.
But after the 1980s, government took over. Government didn't just take over. Government took over for a reason. So it means that history is reoccurring again. We are not learning from our mistakes. Some of the things we are seeing now happened as a result of something. Things didn't just change because they wanted to change them. Now, the 1984 takeover missions, government takeover mission schools. Now, the reason is one, for nationalization push. Post-independence, Ghana aimed to unify education, reduce religious influence, and boost access. The 1983 PNDC government, J.J. Rawlings, saw it as a way to standardize curricula, increased state control, and address perceived inequalities. 2, funding and resources. Mission schools struggled financially, so government stepped in to ensure broader access, especially in rural areas. And then the third one, secularism and politics, a move towards a more centralized, neutral system, minimizing church-state overlaps. And the last one, social equity goal, expand free public education, though it led to debate. So the issue is that government took over because of these reasons. Now, my question is, so if these mission schools, it's a Methodist school, it's a Catholic school, it's an Islam school, T.I. Ahmadiyya, now you don't want to lose the basis of the foundation of the school. So why do you then, as a Christian, as a mission school, why do you then admit a student who does not belong to the faith?
But what will cause the school to lose all of these basic if, you know, even here at Clock TV, people of various, you know, religious, you know, denominations, and we come together on Fridays to do the worship. And in that same time, I'm sure our Muslim, you know, counterparts also go to the ministry's mosque to also go and pray. So we still work together. We still gel. We don't have a name whether we are, you know, secular or Christian or Islam. We are just a unit. If these schools, yes, as Clement said, based on faith and whatnot, now the government has made it more centralized to unify and, you know, equalize with the education and all of that. And now we are having a diversity issue. As Christians, are we not supposed to be tolerant? Because my problem is not even about them my problem is the punishment. Why are you punishing a Muslim for being a Muslim? Why are you punishing an Anglican for being an Anglican? When you are also Christians of a different color. That's basically what I can say about that. So it is unfair as Christians. So
the issue you are talking about right now, it's an allegation. Wesley Senior High School has. It's in court. They've not responded yet. And then court has given them 14 days to they can either respond or not to respond. But because it is of public interest, the court would like Wesley Senior High School to respond so that they can solve the issue amicably. So the point I was making is that, yes, you know this is a Methodist school and you are going strictly to the basis of its foundation. So first of all, why do you admit somebody who is not of your belief?
Because it's the government that has made the school open to everybody now.
Yes.
Because of financial constraints. Now, if the government is funding the school, the government might have an upper hand in dictating who gets to come into the school. So meaning that you do not control the people you admit. What you have to be able to do is make sure you can cater for them and cater to their needs when it comes to the education. If you are going to be spreading Methodist gospel and whatnot, you spread it all right, but make sure that whoever is not of the faith also has room to, because you have your rosary and whatnot, you want to pray. Now, a teacher has come to ask you to kneel down in the sun because you possess a rosary to pray to the same God he also prays to?
Yeah, so
No.
the point I'm trying to make is that these are questions that we need to ask ourselves. Like I'm saying. And so if you're also a Christian or you're a Muslim and you want to abide by your family rules, orientation, why do you choose to go to either an Islamic school or a Christian school? Like you said, because it is made public.
Yes.
It's a public school. So now the point is that why are some of these schools allegedly behaving that way? Is it that they don't want to lose the essence? Like we spoke about.
But how then would you lose
and
the
then
essence?
Two, the next point I want to also make is that why are people so interested in these missionary schools? Is it because they've proven to be academically sound, disciplined, and all of that? Is it the reason why people are so much into missionary schools? Apart from these missionary schools, we have other schools. So what could be the problem? For me, from where I sit, I don't think we should tolerate this thing. I don't see it to be an issue, because if it is a Muslim school like TI Ahmadiyya, when you go there, 90% of them are Muslims.
Yes.
10% are just Christians.
But do we have the Christians complaining that they are being punished for, doing their praise and worship? We don't hear anything like that.
Yeah, let's
Or
make the
it's
issue here.
subjective.
Yeah, I was just going to. Someone just sent a message, and the person was saying that it's kind of today. This one has come out. Maybe you've not heard about the other ones. So the point I was going to make, and Peter was making a very profound statement, that there are so many why around this very issue. So if the various mission schools now think that we still want to restrict our admission, then it should just come out. Before admission, we only admit, let's say, Methodist members. Let's say in our institution.
Those schools are not private schools.
No, Yara, I think I'm not getting the point. A mission school, and now it's being, government is taking its salary and other aspects, does not make government the owner of the school.
No, I'm not talking about ownership, but it's not a private school. It's a public school. Yes.
But public schools are regulated.
Like that.
Public schools are regulated. So if the Christian Council, or they think that it's really a mission school, and they still want their faith or their sole establishment of the school to still exist, then you need to regulate it. You can go back to government. It was government who took over. You can go back to what the drawing board was. It's not new. They can go back and put things in place. That's fine. I think Wesley Girls is Methodist school, and I think for my probably for their point of view, we don't want to see maybe the Islam people being admitted into the school. We don't want to see Anglican in the school. We don't want to see these people in the school. Then you are trying to make waves. But now it seems so open, meaning that anybody at all can come. So if anybody at all can come, then you should know how you are going to integrate.
Yes, and
you
not
should know
punish
how
them.
you are going to merge. You should know how you are going to make things work. You see, there is a growing concern, and people fear that if this growing concern are not handled rightly, it will escalate to a different issue altogether. As earlier statement, as I said, that today we are hearing from the Islamic community. The next phase we'll hear is people also complaining about what they go through in the Islamic community,
Then
or
light
people
should be shed
going
on
through
these things.
people going through in other even the missionary schools belonging to Christian. Everything is happening out there. But what is the way forward? Why do we need this thing now? Why this conversation coming up now? Can't we move on as a nation that has existed for so many years and accepting different religious system? We've had a president who is a Christian, the vice was a Muslim. We've had a president who's a Christian, the vice is a Muslim.
National holidays.
Yes, we have Muslim ministers, we have Muslim. So I think the way to go is, if the mission schools we have in Ghana, they want to really move in their faith-based, then you should go back to drawing board, bring back to the regulation. Peter made a statement, a very profound statement, that even before you apply to to that very institution, you should get to know that, let's say at disco or Wesley Girls. Wesley Girls is basically going to conform to the rules and regulations of Christianity. So if you don't want to be there, then go to a different place.
Okay, I have a question for you and for the viewers. Then we move to the next thing. If you are talking about the fact that if you are going to a mission school, you need to conform. If you don't want to have to conform, then don't go. You mentioned the fact that the religious bodies are also being admonished to take up healthcare facilities, Agenda 111 hospitals and things. So if this is happening in the schools where formal education is the main, this is not a church, this is a school where we go and learn. Formal education is the main mandate before all others come, secondary. If hospitals or current hospitals and then the yet to be constructed ones by whatever missions or missionaries or whatnot, religious bodies also come into play where, because it is a Methodist hospital, if you're a Muslim, you won't get maybe 50% of access to healthcare. Is that not an infringement on your right? Because what exactly has faith got to do with your healthcare? What has it also got to do with your formal education? These are things we need to think about. Yes, the core mandate of the hospital or the school is, yes, faith-based. We want to let the Lord come in and heal the people, let the Lord touch their hearts, and what, and yes. But it is a hospital, it is a school. The mandate of the hospital or the school is nothing related to religion as we know it, right? So if we start feeling like this, where, okay, as a whatever denomination, you go to an Islamic hospital and for one reason or the other, you are denied, okay, the main reason for denying you access to healthcare is the fact that you are not a Muslim. Is this not something leading us on the way to a religious war in the country?
Yes.
That is the parallel I want to create for us viewers and for my co-host here. Then we move to the next issue. We don't have much time, so we can't talk more about the trending banditry in Nigeria. So let's just discuss the public assault of the young man by a lady seemingly to be his partner. Let's take a look at the video quickly.
No, I can't ask them. Me no tell me who's out there. Well, I'm not scared. No, just in our kind. No, I can't say I can't. Now, we young people never know my children when they commit something you see that back. No, I can't ask them. Me no tell me who's out there.
So that was an altercation between a man and a woman, and this time it seems the woman was physically assaulting the man. And it has sparked some outrage that if the roles were reversed, a lot more people will be complaining. And I think the main response to this would be, why are we waiting for women to always be the ones to, you know, start complaining or spark the outrage? You two, the men, I mean, say something. Talk about the fact that men get abused too. Men are also facing these things, but because of our societies and the patriarchy, they are laughed at, they are told to be a man and take it, which is not right, you know. And as we could see in the video, he wasn't even trying to defend himself. And then there were men around, and it took a while before they came to sort of separate them. All of these things, I mean, you are men. We want to hear from you briefly. Then we go
this
to
is an abuse. This is audacity. When you abuse, where you're dancing, where you're done to.
I was thinking it's even the content they are creating. This could have been easily stopped. I don't see I'm sure it's content they are creating, because things like this. I mean, we have to be serious. But
as men, you shouldn't be quick to dismiss things like this.
No, yeah.
We are not being quick. But what you saw on the screen, you're dancing.
Yeah, this one.
And the woman is hitting. She's assaulting him.
Sometimes laugh. They do laugh in public like this.
If the roles were reversed, would you also say that Audacem? If the man was beating the woman like that?
For what we saw today, Audacem.
Look at this.
Look at what is happening. This is not happening.
I mean, seriously, we have to be serious in this country, and then things like, this is not a typical situation where you say that. This one, I'm sure they were creating content. This could have.
You are my witnesses. So instead of these men to advocate and speak against, you know, assault against men, they say it's Odosem. So you heard it from them. Anyway, let's go to another story that would be of interest to a lot of us. Maybe on Tuesday we'll talk more about the rising cases in terrorism when it comes to Nigeria and what it poses for the West African sub-region and Africa as a whole. Now, this story here says, local government minister announces plans to establish sanitation courts in palaces. The Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim, has revealed that the government intends to set up sanitation courts in the chief's palaces nationwide. He explained that the initiative is meant to improve environmental cleanliness and strengthen discipline in waste management. The minister announced this during this year's Eluo Festival, pardon my butchering, at Sefi Bibiani. Okay, Sefi Bibiani. And the Banda MP, who happens to be the minister, emphasized that traditional authorities should be given more power and work closely with district assemblies to penalize those who violate sanitation rules in order to promote a cleaner environment. Gentlemen?
Yes, so this
sanitation court.
Yes, this is a good call from the minister. I mean, gone are the days where you hear saman, communal labor. Yes, the chiefs are able to mobilize the people to undertake cleaning exercises, you know, build classrooms, build the needed infrastructure in the communities. But this time, these days, you don't see them. And so there are some communities that you go and you hear that this place, when you litter here, or sorry to say, when you defecate here, it's a taboo. You'll be found this and that. Those times we didn't hear what we are hearing currently. And so I think it's a good call from the minister. And he also said that the Constitutional Review Committee, they have to take it into consideration and give the chiefs some powers to go back to that state. Because AMA is doing it best, the environmental, everybody is playing his or her role. But it seems that the ordinary Ghanaian is not listening. Don't go here, I'm going there. So sorry to say, don't defecate here, I'm defecating there. Some people even put up structures they build without considering where the people who will reside will, sorry to say, defecate. They just build, and then people go as far as going to the riverside, seaside, and defecating anyhow. I know this also boils down to cost. And so I think it's a good call, and the chiefs and the various palaces, in as much as right now they don't have what it actually takes, the powers to do that, I'm sure they still have some powers under their sleeves that they can ensure that their communities, you don't do this, when you do this, you'll be fine and all of that. Right. I think we should go back to that era. Yeah. Yes.
The extended version of the story talked about that, about giving these chiefs some powers. And I don't know if we remember this. I don't remember which co-host I had here, but there was a situation, and then the chief did something. Was it that he constructed the road, or he did something and then he ended up getting was it arrested, or there was some sort of pushback from the authorities about it? I think he took matters into his own hands, that we are waiting for Abayin Nyehe, but they did it. I don't recall very well, but it was also something for the community, something for the environment. And we're talking about the fact that if he has done it, shouldn't we rather commend him rather than saying that the government was supposed to do it and he has come to cross the line and whatnot? This comes back to giving these traditional bodies the power they are due. We always use this in the conversation when it comes to Galamsey about engaging the traditional bodies, because they are the main point of contact when it comes to the lands that are being used for these things. So in situations like development and communal stuff, I think they should be given that amount of power. They should also be given some sort of room to liaise with the district and municipal assembly, so that when something needs to be done, these chiefs, being respected or revered in their cultural and traditional and even spiritual offices and all that, the people will listen. Because now we have a town in one of the 3 Bono regions, which is supposedly the neatest town in Ghana also. And this is because of the initiative their, chieftaincies also took, where they made it a point they didn't wait for Abayin to come into. We heard Accra will become the cleanest city. I mean, we're not seeing much. We can take a page out of their books that this and this is what they did. Let us give them some amount of reverence that they used to have. We know, yes, there's state governance and then there is the local or traditional governance, but these people were playing a role long before colonial rule came in and long after colonial rule. Even regardless of how much power they don't have anymore, they are still playing key roles in the community, and these key roles need to have some light shed on them so that we can have the people obeying. Because if now I've littered and they said Gamache is calling me, I will be shaking in my bones, as opposed to the district assembly is calling me. Already, even from that cultural perspective, having to face Gamache because I put pure water on the road, already you'll be shaking. This is because this is the king of Accra. But if it's the district assembly, but if both are working and now you've littered, you are being called, the fear of the Lord will be put in you. You will start behaving right.
So yeah, I think the Minister for Local Government and Chieftaincy is doing a good job, and this is what we're all calling for. We are calling for a time would come like this where development would start from communities, would start from the genesis, then we pick it up to revelation. But if development starts from the top and it comes down, it is kind of centralized at the top base. And this is the way to go. And I think the minister has done a good thing, a good call, but we just hope that it will go through the necessary process so they will have the legal backing to be able to operate in such manner. Yara, what do the tradition of our country say? What is our culture? Our culture give a hierarchy or a very top hierarchy, or puts chiefs in a very top hierarchy. I happen to find myself in a family where we are royals. I happen to find myself in such situation. So I understand. I understand when it comes to kinship and its matters. Sometimes you'll be there and what you hear is nananom ekwa kishia adanya obi aye adie bi nananom ewo se omuhye omo. The fear alone of meeting the king and the elders alone would either make you change your mind even before you get there. So I think that thing need to come back. Let us strengthen our chiefs. Let us strengthen them, the local authorities. Let us give them that kind of power. But the one growing concern is the issue of misunderstanding and chieftaincy disputes going on. Before we can make this thing work very well, we should make sure that the chieftaincy growing concern in the country is well handled. Why? Because if it is not well handled, assuming if I happen to be a king, Peter is also a king fighting for that same community. What is going to be that people who follow me or who support me, when the matter is sent to Peter, would end up even not appearing before Peter, would end up even not respecting the ruling of Peter. The same thing applies to the other side. So we might, at the end of the day, we can have this kind of sanitation court in place, all right, but they might end up not functioning as they need to function. Why? Because of chieftaincy disputes. What is another thing we should look at? Another thing we should look at is the various elders in the communities. It is a lifestyle. And I like the point that we are going to have what we call lifestyle audits. So if you want to summon me before the court palace, then you, the elders, you, those in the chief, need to also be in a particular category. Because if you are putting me to check because of I have littered my surrounding, then it should also tell you that when I go to the surrounding of, let's say, the linguist, that place should also be kept clean. So it is two affair. In as much as we want the palace to function very well as a sanitation court, then those players, the stakeholders, need to first be put in check. Because if they are clean, that is when you can clean others whenever they are dating.
Right.
The last thing I want to say is that it is a good call because those days you hear the gong beater sounded. So tankers for air the next day. Until one will feature FUB and you will do it before they come because you don't want them to summon you.
Right.
That's what I just want to say.
So they should give them, make sure the chieftaincy issues are also properly sorted. Peter, briefly before we go to the next segment.
I just want viewers to know that the minister says Ghana is currently losing more than $500 million United States dollars annually due to poor sanitation. And so, like we are all discussing, let us use it or make it a lifestyle. Let us ensure that our environments are clean and all that. At the end of the day, we fall sick as a result of our unclean environment, and then there tends to be pressure on our health facilities and all that. And so it's a good call, like Clement said. We are hoping for the best, and we are hoping that the Constitutional Review Committee would consider this and will get that power the chiefs need to ensure that this becomes a reality. Right.
Thank you so much. We have a comment here. This is directed at you, gentlemen, so I will read it. It says, "Good morning. I'm watching a live discussion. Two gentlemen at the studio. What are they saying concerning the video we watched where the woman is seriously and vehemently abusing the man, and they are saying it is a love play? Is that all they can say?" I said some. If it was a man abusing the woman, I don't think this will have been their judgment. I am highly disappointed this morning. We are sorry. We're sorry about that. This is Conlan Isaac from East Airport.
So Isaac, from our perspective, That is how sometimes lovers behave. So from our perspective, from where we view things from, that is how some lovers behave sometimes. That is why you see that. But if in a situation where the woman is, yes, that would have been, but looking at the scenario we saw, from our perspective, it's a love play.
And
Thank
women
you.
are very vulnerable and we need to protect them in so many ways. But then when we talk about the abuse, with this extent, but then
It's not abuse.
you have a point. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you all so much. Thank you for joining me in this discussion here. Thank you also for your comments, and thank you for staying tuned. Up next is the next segments that will be coming up, so do stay tuned.
Up next.
my strength, like you said. But let me start with our stories for today. First of all, let me say hello and a good morning to our viewers out there. Thank you for sticking and staying with us. We are grateful for your time and then your comments and everything you've done to help us get this far. And of course, today we are all about Ghana football. We are talking about our referees in Ghana, our officiating team in Ghana. So our first story has to do with Ghana's Daniel Lai, named in FIFA final list of the referees for the 2025 AFCON. So yes, of course, we have our very own Daniel Ni Lai, who has joined the team that is officiating for the 2025 AFCON that is coming up next month, God willing, in Morocco. Yes, so he's part of the 28 center referees, including 14 video match officials and 31 assistants, totaling 73 officiating members. So yes, we know him. He's one of the renowned referees we have in Ghana here. He has a very good record. He's officiating in most of the. He has officiated in most of the league matches that's gone on in Ghana here, and of course he's featured in the CAF Champions League. He's featured in the Confederation Cup, the CHAN, the WAFCON, and a lot of other officiating games as well. So we know he's quite experienced. He knows the job. He's so much into it, and we believe he's going to make Ghana proud. We're hoping many other officiating members could join him, not just him, but unfortunately we have just him. And I think it is time that our officiating team, our officiating members sit up, and whatever they are doing as referees, they should sit up and do it very well, because the world is watching. I believe a time is coming. We'll see Daniel out there officiating in some of the FIFA games, and I wouldn't be surprised because of his past record. And then in this AFCON games that is coming up, I believe he will do very well, and then he will testify of how good he is. Because of this, let me just, like I said, we are talking about referees, officiating members in Ghana football. So let me move straight to our next story. That is GFA president launching a historic insurance policy to enhance welfare of Ghanaian referees. So Ghanaian referees, during his speech during the Congress around October thereabouts, GFA Congress, he made a promise that he's going to look to the side of our officiating team, our officiating members, and then provide a better welfare plan for them. That was during Kechokwekwu's speech at the Congress. And so, God being so good, on the 25th of November, that was on Tuesday, he has fulfilled the pledge he made by introducing a welfare that is going to protect match officials across the country's domestic leagues. So in our local matches, whether male or female, they are going to be having some incentives put down for them. Right. Because we need to protect our officiating members. They need to also feel safe, secured when they are doing what they love to do, what they've opted to do to help their country. So we have 280 referees in the Premier League, the Division 1 League, and the Women's Premier League. So all of them have been enrolled onto this new scheme, meaning that all of these officiating members are going to be, they're going to be receiving these incentives that has to do with their welfare. They're going to also feel secured henceforth, because we believe that it was difficult working without any incentives or any welfare plan placed in for them. He made a comment. This is not an insurance policy. It's a social protection package. That is by Okreku. He said that when he was reflecting on the commitment he made to safeguarding referees and their families. So this is a good deal. This is something good for Ghana as a whole and for our officiating members. I believe that if the referees are being treated well, they will also go all out to do what they have to do. This can also help prevent this bribery, this referees betting on games and all that. It can help avoid all these things because they feel like they are being protected, they are doing very well, we are appreciating what they do. So in turn, they will do their best to help their country, to help our games. And then, of course, this is just for the local stories we have. For our international story, we have, of course, the Champions League games that went on. We have the results that will be displayed on our screen shortly, and then we have some highlights we want to also show our viewers. So this was on the Ajax and Benfica. Of course, I would want to go through it, but then it will get to a time I can't go through it also. Yes, it will get to Barcelona and I can't see it. So let's just
I'll say it's for Chelsea 0-3 and then Barcelona 0.
You didn't have to do it. That is not your work. Please, let's just...
It's just to rub the pepper in the sauce.
Well, let me just go through it quickly. Ajax lost to Benfica 2-0. Galatasaray lost to Union SG. Some of the big matches, let me just mention some of the big matches. So, Bodo Glimt faced Juventus, and then Juventus won by 3-2. And then Chelsea won 3-0 against Barcelona. What's up? I'm very well. So viewers, this was my colleague from the other side, Chelsea. Yes, I'm very well. How are you doing?
Up and grateful. I mean, it's been excitement, and
first of all, Charlie invited you.
Oh, I'm part of the show. I mean, I'm part of the show. Chama, what's up? Is everything okay?
Everything is okay.
So yeah, on Tuesday I said it. I mean, that we're going to score Barcelona.
So that's why you're Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, where is your Barcelona jersey?
Their flags are at half-mast, please.
So you see, these guys, they think, I mean, they can beat everybody. You see, but the last time they scored us at Stamford Bridge, it was way back 2006. Okay, and even that time there was no VAR.
Oh, okay.
And after that match,
the eagerness of the Chelsea team, they were in to win. The truth is the truth. I was watching the game. I was so much disappointed in.
But the thing is, your coach is very stubborn. You see, your coach is very stubborn.
That's we can't take it away from him.
So we see his stubbornness. So we decided to
show
counter.
him something.
So normally we will play whether Delap is a striker or this thing.
Pedro is
yeah. So So we decided to play 3 runners. They will run on the defenders. That's what we decided to. So Estevao, who scored the second goal, and Pedro Neto, and then Garnacho. They are all runners. Because they have loopholes at their back, the back. So we decided
the only loophole at our back is the one who took the record, Ronald Arayo. I don't know what his problem is. In 2021, he did it against Inter Milan. He did it again against PSG. And then he has done it again every time during Champions League. I don't know what's wrong. He's an aggressive defender. We understand that. Yeah. But then he doesn't apply IQ like to it. It's the truth. It's the truth. I mean, excuse me for using that language, but then you see, anytime he makes that tackle, he gets a red card. Let's consider the first yellow, for example. The referee has called a foul. You were supposed to. The Barcelona player was injured, so the referee should have called a foul, but he didn't. Then he called a foul later on. As a captain, why would you go and be screaming? Yes, you're a captain. You have to question the referee. You have every right to do that. But you don't have to be screaming to the referee. He has already called a foul, and then he earned a yellow card. It was totally unnecessary.
Yeah, and our players need to learn. I mean, each and every day, the rules and regulations,
it changes.
Yes. And gone are the days whereby you go to the referee and nothing will happen. In recent times, even if you go to the linesman and you try and exchange words with him, you'll be given a yellow card. And in as much as you are a captain and you have the right to go on the referee, at least you just need to be, cool and talk to the referee.
Yes, you are the captain. You have every right. You can approach the referee at any time, but you don't go to the referees aggressively. That is totally wrong. He's also working. He's also trying to make sure that things are calm. So if you come to him aggressively, the opponent also come to him aggressively, and then he will distort the dynamics of the game and all that. So he ended the yellow card, also unnecessary. And then the tackle against Cucurella, the guy had already pushed the ball away. There was no need for that tackle. But there again, we know Arayo. Before the game, I told the people around me, Arayo will get a red card. And they were all like, actually, he said it. I was like, I know this man. It's normal. Unfortunately, we lost to it. And
I heard someone scored an own goal.
Yeah. So
how does that happen?
Kunde. Yes.
As for that guy, if you look at the guy's dressing,
yeah, people are commenting on X that is he a footballer or is a fashion guy? Because I mean he dresses very well.
Yeah.
That we can't take that away from him. He drapes very well.
And you see, this guy, I don't know if you forgot it. Chelsea was on the verge of signing
Kunde. Yeah.
And then he decided to join Barcelona. So I quite remember we Champions League, the one Chelsea won in just recent times. We lost the game. And he went to his Instagram page and he was like, I nearly joined this. You see? So later on, when this thing with him and Lamine Yamal, I mean, we should put a stop to that. I mean, Lamine Yamal has been in the system for the past 3 seasons and he's doing a lot. He is now coming from Brazil. So he's very new to Europe. But then he's trying his best. So by the next 4 or 5 years, the way Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, I mean,
dominated
took over, dominated for years. These two guys are going to do such a thing. And
I also believe that Stevaro is very good. He's very good. I watched him in Palmeiras for some time. I mean, when the spotlight came on him, I was watching his games.
But then this same guy, Barcelona nearly signed him.
Yeah, Barcelona nearly signed him.
Barcelona
was because we didn't have money.
I mean,
we didn't have money.
And you see, this team, Barcelona. So even if you are a human being, if you for instance, if somebody tells you that you own like Barcelona, it means Talu di Capa because the Barcelona team.
Then Benedict, you need to go back to the drawing board.
So how can this Barcelona team, who is in so much debt, I mean.
That is one of our biggest issues.
This one we'll have to recruit you to Chelsea.
No. Let me just pass a message to the Barcelona fans out there. Shortly, briefly. Please give me just 1 minute.
Why motivational speaker?
Yes. To the players of FC Barcelona and every fan who bleeds Blaugrana, listen. Losing is not the end of the story. It is simply a chapter that shapes champions. The club was built on resilience, identity, and the belief that even in the hardest moments, we rise again with pride and purpose. Defeat hurts, yes, but it also reveals character. It shows who is ready to fight, and who is ready to learn, and who refuses to stay down. So, Barcelona fans out there,
take it easy. My guy,
come back.
My guy, take it easy.
I like
take it easy. It's okay.
I like the way Chelsea fans
I mean, it's okay. I mean, see. If you try and do this, you go explain you go explain tire. So I mean, it's okay. It's okay.
Thank you very much, Yaya. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James.
So Yaya, before we go, yesterday was the birthday of Pastor Winfred Yobo. So happy belated birthday to him.
Okay, yes. And from Clock TV, we would also like to wish you a happy belated birthday. We are so grateful for your life. God bless you for giving yourself to the Lord to use you in the immense ways that He is using you and for your impact in our lives. We hope to see you here for the Christmas festivities as well. Please do enjoy your birthday. So yes, the sports segment today was quite interesting, and yes, all too soon the segment has ended. Up next is the business segment with Clement Yawankwe, who was also laughing at Benedict. So do stay tuned.
Good morning, welcome to the Business Update segment. I am Clement Yabankwe. Now, on to our stories. Ghana's public debt reached 684.6 billion Ghana cedis as of September 2025, after rising by 71.6 billion Ghana cedis in the third quarter. Despite this quarterly jump, the Bank of Ghana reports that the country is still making strong overall progress in reducing its debts compared to last year. The current debt to GDP ratio is 48.9%, up from 43.8% in June.
This was mainly driven by external debt, which rose sharply to 367 billion Ghana cedis from 303 billion Ghana cedis. However, over the long term, external debt has seen major declines, dropping 432 billion Ghana cedis since January and 508.6 billion Ghana cedis year on year. Domestic debts remained relatively stable at 317.6 billion Ghana cedis. Ghana's nominal GDP is estimated at 1.4 trillion Ghana cedis.
Away from that, Ghana's cedi has recorded a strong performance in 2025, appreciating 32.2% against the United States dollar on the interbank market between January and November. Bank of Ghana data shows the currency ended November at 11 Ghana cedis 12 pesos to a dollar, while retail rate averaged 12 Ghana cedis 10 pesos per dollar.
The cedi saw a historic rally earlier in the year, gaining over 40% between May and July before losing some momentum between July and September and then stabilizing again in October. It also strengthened against other major currencies, up 18.8% against the euro and 26.4% against the British pound. Recent weeks have seen mild depreciation due to rising corporate demand for foreign exchange and usual year-end pressures, but overall, the cedi's year-to-date performance remains far better than in 2024, helping sustain investor confidence.
Now on spare parts pricing in Ghana, dealers at Abossey-Okai, Ghana's biggest auto spare parts market, have started lowering prices as the cedi strengthened against the United States dollar. The reduction followed internal discussion and a meeting with the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ajari, after concerns were raised about uneven pricing in the market.
Many traders say the improved value of the cedi has reduced the cost of importing spare parts. This is enabling them to ease prices to support customers and maintain confidence. The Abossey-Okai Spare Parts Dealers Association notes that while price cuts differ by product type, the overall downward trend is likely to continue if the currency remains stable. The association also plans to keep working with members to ensure pricing reflects the cedi's gains and provides real relief to vehicle owners and mechanics nationwide.
Thank you so much for staying with us for the Business Update segment. I am Clement Yabankwe. Do stay tuned for the rest of the show.
I'm good, thank you, and thank you for a very nice introduction.
You're welcome. It's good to see you on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you as well. It's good to be back.
Yeah. Today we are talking about diabetes, and to the layman, they want to understand what is diabetes.
Yeah, diabetes. Diabetes is it's a serious problem that we are battling with today, all across the world. I'm not going to give you very scientific definitions for everyone to understand. So diabetes is a metabolic condition characterized by persistently elevated or persistently high blood sugar levels. Everyone requires sugar in their bloodstream to be able to perform their day-to-day tasks, because that is one of the primary chemicals in the body for energy. However, in diabetes, if a person has been diagnosed with diabetes, it just means that the blood sugar levels are not within normal limits, typically above the upper limit. And it has its issues that it comes with. Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, once said that anything done in excess opposes nature. So similarly, if the body has anything in excess within it gets thrown out of whack and starts to misbehave. And people think that diabetes is primarily a thing of sugar. But no, it's not just the blood sugar that is elevated. There are some downstream problems that come with the elevated sugar. Let's talk about the pancreas first and foremost. Okay, so the pancreas, there are a nest of cells within the pancreas which are responsible for producing insulin. We call them the islet cells, particularly the beta cells within the islets. And these produce insulin. Insulin is the primary hormone responsible for driving sugar into the cells, because the sugar just lives within the bloodstream. It needs to be pushed into each cell for energy or respiration so that each cell can metabolize it and produce energy for daily living.
All right, Doc. So with all this technical team, there would be someone out there who don't even understand. In their mind, when it comes to diabetes, it's all about sugar.
Right.
So we would like you to break it down.
Yeah. So the sugar is persistently elevated. Okay. And typically, so we have types of diabetes. It's important to understand the types for us to really understand the downstream effects and how the problems arise. Okay, so as I was talking about the insulin drives the sugar into the cells. So once there is a limited amount of insulin within the bloodstream, there isn't going to be enough sugar pushed into the bloodstream. So also the sugar just lives within the bloodstream. And so that's one of the primary issues in diabetes. In type 1 diabetes, the body destroys, it has its soldiers that are parading around which go and destroy the cells that produce the insulin. However, in type 2 diabetes, the body is perceiving that there isn't enough insulin because it's just not sensitive to the insulin, as well as a reduction in the amount of insulin that is produced.
All right. So statistics shows that about 537 people globally are prone to diabetes.
Million.
Now, we want to understand which people are at risk when it comes to diabetes.
Great. When we talk about people at risk, we are looking at risk factors, okay? Risk factors simply mean the things that put people at risk of developing a certain issue. There are things that you can control, and there are things that you cannot control.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the things that you cannot control, we call them non-modifiable risk factors. Okay. And ethnicity is a very important one. Let me just add this, that genetics play a huge role. Okay. So the genetic influence for type 2 is actually greater than for type 1. For type 1, it's about 30 to 60%.
Yeah, I was actually coming to that. We want to know the types of diabetic patients that, we have. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll hit that right after the risk factors.
Sure.
So what was I saying?
You were talking about the risk factors before I chip in.
The percentages.
Yeah.
So about 30 to 60%, the genetic influence exists for the type 1. However, for the type 2, it's about 70 to 90. And if you have both parents living with diabetes, your risk is inching close to 70%. And so that really influences how conscious you would need to be about your health to be able to make lifestyle choices that would affect your health positively. So that's for the non-modifiable, your ethnicity or your race. If you're African, if you're African American, if you're non-white, Hispanic, if you're a Pacific Islander, the risk is very high. But when we talk about the modifiable risk factors, that's where we have diet, your nutrition. It has to be great. We'll talk about that later. Physical activity, not being sedentary, tobacco smoking, even your sleep, how you sleep is also a very important thing. The cosmetic products that you use, if you're using products that have hydroquinone, if you want to look fair.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never knew about it because there are some people, like, in Ghana, we see certain people, especially fair people. In Ghana, every fair person thinks they are beautiful. I don't know if you've ever come across that meme. So because they see that, people like praising fair people, they also want to, but they don't know the health implication of trying to change your skin color and all of that. So I want you to talk about it again, that it can lead to diabetes.
Yeah, it's a very important thing. A lot of people that I come across in the clinics who use the skin lightening agents or the creams that contain what we call steroids, primarily hydroquinone, they do not embrace their melanin. They think that if they are dark, they are not beautiful.
Yeah.
But that is far from the truth, guys. I want you to know that if you're black, you're dark and lovely. Melanin is to be embraced, and don't try to get rid of it. These steroids within the creams, your body has its own steroids, primarily what we call cortisol. Okay? And what happens is cortisol helps with blood sugar regulation and whatnot. When it's in excess, your blood sugar also goes up. When you're using the steroid creams, it tends to elevate the blood sugar, and people tend to get what we call steroid-induced diabetes. Okay, so and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are other health implications of using these creams, which can cause a life-threatening crisis.
I hope the viewers are listening. So those of you who like to, I want to Okay, so back, Doc, we'd like to go back to the types of diabetes. Yeah.
Okay, great. There are different types of diabetes. Okay, there are so many types. At large, we have types 1 and 2. Okay, so type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, what everyone knows. Type 1 diabetes, it is what we call autoimmune in nature. I'll break it down. Break it down.
Yeah, very necessary.
Yeah. Everyone has soldiers walking in their body. The soldiers are parading, they're marching. Yes, sir, yes, sir. When they see an offending agent or if they see something foreign in the body, they'll strike it down.
Yeah.
If they see something foreign in the body that looks like it's going to harm the body, they're going to strike it down. Okay. In type 1 diabetes, remember I talked about the cells within the pancreas that produce insulin. In type 1 diabetes, the soldiers within the body see those cells as foreign. So they'll go and strike them down. And so it takes time for that destruction to take place. People living with type 1 diabetes are usually young. Okay. They can be adolescents, they can be under 10. They are typically young. And
that's because they consume a lot of sugary stuff.
No. This one is regardless of sugar. Okay. However, I should say right now that we have this analogy that if the genes are the gun, or no, if lifestyle is no, if the genes are the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. Okay, so if you have the genetic predisposition to developing a certain condition, it is a person's environment that's going to determine how early the problem comes or whether it's even going to come at all. Okay, so typically with the type 1, it's not really a thing with the person's environment. There are some environmental triggers, however, like viruses and consumption of some foods like bovine milk, but these are things that are still being investigated. However, at large, it's primarily a problem with the soldiers parading around and just going to hit the place where the insulin is produced. That's for type 1. So it's completely different from the type 2. People living with type 1 diabetes typically form about 5 to 10% of the total prevalence of diabetes worldwide. The rest of the 85 to 90% are type 2. So type 2, typically the person might be obese, okay, but knows that a person does not have to be living with obesity to have the type 2 diabetes. There are a lot of lifestyle things. Again, I mentioned that the environment plays a very important role in whether the person is going to develop it or how early they are going to develop the issue. So we can have the obesity, but also the nutrition. Is a person eating a high-fat diet in our environment? A lot of our meals are high-fat. A lot of our soups have a lot of fat in them. If you're consuming ultra-processed foods, a lot of them have a lot of saturated fats in them. When we look at carbohydrates intake as well, it doesn't even have to be pure sugar that you are taking. Because starches are converted into sugar. It's really a thing about meal quality and meal quantity, because the quality, you're looking at whole foods. You know, it's very important to eat whole foods. And whole foods, if we're looking at carbohydrates, you know, they have a certain amount of fiber in there, whether it is the digestible or the non-digestible kind. There is some fiber in there, which helps with how quickly the blood sugar gets elevated, or whether it's going to lead to like a steady increase and then it plateaus. So you want to make sure that there is sufficient fiber in your meals, and that's what makes the carbohydrates healthy. Otherwise, if you're eating a fiber depleted carbohydrate, it's only going to shoot the blood sugar so much, and that tends to put a lot of pressure on the cells that produce the insulin. So high fat diet, high carbohydrates diets, those are really bad. Other things such as poor sleep tends to also put a person at risk. Shift work.
But Doc, when you spoke about diet, I wanted to ask you, what should a healthy Ghanaian meal look like? Okay. Yeah. Okay. There are people that consume a whole lot of carbohydrates, starchy foods, just in the name of I like swallow, I like to eat fufu, I like to eat bamku. Even late nights, they would like to still consume them.
Yeah. It's a thing that really needs to be discussed. And honestly, I feel that we really need to get to a place in our nutrition research where we determine how much of what is in our local foods. For example, a bowl of banku. How many calories are in a bowl of banku? We can't really determine that unless someone has developed like how we have the fufu mix. Sometimes you have the nutritional information label on there. You don't always have it on there, but it's a plus when you have it on there. We need to get to the point where all of these things are declared so that we know that, if I'm making this volume of banku with a certain mix, I know that I'm consuming about 250 calories of carbohydrates. So we are aware, because it is not a good thing to have a huge carbohydrate load all at once. You might think that, I'm going to just eat this meal and I'm not going to eat for the rest of the day. That's not a good thing. You are probably front loading, and that's not a good thing. You're supposed to spread how much you require in a day. Let's say if you need to stay weight neutral.
So kind of like portion control too. Yeah.
But I mean, you wouldn't know what your portion control might be unless some of these things are declared that, for you to be weight neutral, you might need about 1,800 calories per day. and let's say you're going to eat a bowl of kinky, you don't even know how much is in there. And there are speculations that a bowl of kinky can range between 700 and 1,200 calories. And so if you're going to eat 2 balls, which a lot of people do, they are just going to go way above the limit. And even 7 calories, just little as 7 calories above how much you need in a day can affect your health.
All right, interesting conversation. So we would like to know, how is diabetes related to obesity? But before then, we would like to know at what stage do you have to, see the signs of diabetes? What stage? Like, what are some of the signs that you get to know?
Okay. Diabetes is hypertension and diabetes are brothers. Okay, so
they go hand in hand.
Yeah, hypertension is diabetes. Diabetes is big brother. So sometimes you might not have symptoms. Okay, someone can have diabetes for even 10 years and not know until something major happens. Maybe an infection happens and they get into a diabetic emergency for which they have to be admitted. And during the workup, we find that the person has diabetes, the person has X and Y, they have this diabetic emergency.
Wow.
However, if it does announce itself, there are the 5 P's of diabetes.
Okay.
That's polyuria, where the person urinates too much. I'm not really talking about how frequently a person urinates, but it's more to do with the volume of urine. So the person can just be peeing and peeing, standing and peeing. The urine isn't finishing. It just keeps coming. It keeps coming. So yeah, the urine just keeps coming and coming and coming. So that's polyuria. Polydipsia, the person is always thirsty. The person is always have to drink water because they are always thirsty. Of course, because they are losing a lot of water.
Yeah.
Because the sugar is coming out through the urine and is drawing a lot of water with it. There is polyphagia. That means the person is eating too much.
Okay.
So they have a voracious appetite. They are eating too much.
That can be a symptom of diabetes. Wow. Interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Wow.
The 4th P is polyneuropathy. That's a big word. I'll break it down.
Yeah.
Polyneuropathy just means, in simple terms, the person might have issues with their nerves, and sometimes it can be sensory. So they might start to have pins and needles.
Okay.
Or they might have weakness or wherever. They might have a nerve problem. They might have numbness of their feet, and so they might want to soak their feet in hot water. Never do that, I beg you.
Okay.
Just so that they can feel something. But more often than not, these tactics...
It can make your feet numb or...
Yeah.
Okay.
So you feel like you are walking on cotton.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can't feel the ground. So some people, to be able to feel the ground, they have to really stomp. And that is a telltale feature of a neuropathy. And then the 4th P is weight loss.
Ooh.
I know it's not a P, but...
Okay.
Yeah, so typically when a person has diabetes, because the body doesn't sense that there is sufficient insulin within the bloodstream, insulin has to drive the sugar into the cells and helps with energy production. Now, the body has to rely on other fuels aside from glucose because glucose isn't being metabolized well enough. So it would recruit parts of your muscle. It would also recruit fat. So fat and protein, particularly amino acids. So amino acids and lipids, what we call fats, are liberated from the stores and so that they are converted into sugar. And that's why the person loses weight.
All right. So, Doc, we'd like to know, is diabetes only for older people? Because normally we hardly hear, or we hardly see people, like young people, being diagnosed with diabetes, but it's usually like the old people. That is when you see someone saying this, call Hajia, I catch and say, sugar, no, a panic be just a little. I don't want too much. I don't want too much sugar. That is when, and it's mostly the early ones. You don't see the the young ones, we go to the sugar, we want a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, so that the cocoa will be nice. Yeah, so what do you have to say about that? Cocoa digest, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question. Let's revisit the types of diabetes. So we talked about types 1 and 2. There are other causes, let me put it that way. So there is also gestational diabetes. Okay. So that's a pregnant woman, usually in her second trimester. Typically between like 22 to 26 weeks is when it can be diagnosed. You know, and there are some things that come with the pregnancy, that come with the placenta, and some adaptations that take place during the pregnancy that puts a woman at risk of developing gestational diabetes. Now, typically, if the woman is at risk of type 2, she can get the gestational. And after delivering, when the placenta is out, the baby is out, gestational diabetes will go. However, there is a very high risk, close to 50 or greater % risk of developing diabetes within the next 10 to 20 years. So it's not like, yeah, I'm out of the woods, I've delivered, so I'm not going to get diabetes anymore. There needs to be screening. If there aren't any pertinent risk factors, like maybe the person has a family history of diabetes, then we're looking at least 3 yearly screenings. So every 3 years, she needs to get screened for diabetes. However, if there are like really strong risk factors, the screening can be done even earlier, at an earlier rate. If there is pre-diabetes, however, if the person has pre-diabetes, then the screening can be done yearly. Okay. So that's for gestational. If someone has maybe injury to the pancreas, maybe the person was involved in a road traffic accident or something, or the person developed pancreatitis from whatever cause, and it's affected where insulin is produced, then it means that they aren't going to produce enough insulin to be able to clear the glucose load within the bloodstream, and so they are going to get diabetes. So if the person is really young, under 45, under 35, and they have an injury to the pancreas, whether from infection or whatever, then they're going to develop diabetes, what we call pancreatogenic diabetes, type 3C diabetes. There is a type 5 diabetes, however, which was published recently, where if a person has had malnutrition in their developmental stage, whether it was childhood or adolescence, the pancreas wouldn't have, or the beta cells specifically, wouldn't have enough volume and number in post that period because there wasn't enough carbohydrates and protein for development at that stage. And so when they get older, the metabolic demands, the pancreas wouldn't be able, or the beta cells would not be able to stand the metabolic demands as the person ages. And so that's the type 5, typically associated with malnutrition in their developmental stages.
All right. So
from this, you can tell that it really doesn't matter, even with ethnicity. Okay, so someone who's Asian, Asians typically tend to, when they are gaining weight from whatever cause, whether it's from sleep disturbance or overnutrition or whatever, they tend to not have, they tend to not store a lot of their fat underneath their skin, but more in the abdomen, in places where the body doesn't like to really store the. So it's kind of like a bad fat store. The fat stores within the abdomen are more metabolically active, and they release some chemicals that can affect the pancreas. So because of that, you can't really use the BMI for people of Asian ethnicity to say that, oh, well, they are at risk of diabetes. They have a lower BMI cutoff to determine whether they are at risk of the metabolic implications of that specific weight. Typically, we're looking at a cutoff of 23, from 23 to 25. But in greater than 25, we might classify them as being having obesity. But we are moving away from BMI cutoffs, however. We are leaving that to us clinicians, but not for the public.
Wow, there's so much to learn about diabetes. But we would like to know, how often should we check for diabetes? Because from how our conversation is going, you can tell somebody even has diabetes. Like it could be like pre-diabetes, but they don't know. So how often should like checkups be done when it comes to
Okay, let me say this, that a lot of people do not have a primary care physician. Okay. They just, if I'm sick, I'll go to this hospital or that hospital, but they don't have a specific hospital that they go to for screening, for checkups.
That's true.
And that's something that we really need to think about and implement. You need to have a primary care physician. So based on whatever they find out, or they find, they can say, come at this time. So that if anything is detected, say pre-diabetes, for example, because pre-diabetes is a good stage where the bad processes can be detected so that a person doesn't develop a full-grown diabetes. Even some people who have pre-diabetes are at risk of certain signs and symptoms, even complications of diabetes. So it's not really a safe place to be with I have pre-diabetes. I am not overtly living with diabetes, so I'm safe. No, it doesn't.
You might not know,
It doesn't work that way. So it's good to stay clear from that category. So if a person has been found to have pre-diabetes, we wouldn't advocate for the 3 early screening. The 3 early screening is for people who are older than 45 years with no obvious risk factors. However, if there are risk factors, even before the age of 45, screening needs to be discussed and needs to be done even more frequently.
So would also like to know how can we manage like diabetes, especially like the elderly people, like by the time they realize that they are diabetic, then the harm has already been caused. So how do they manage the
right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a study. Please ask the question again in the next 2 minutes because I need to talk about this study.
All right, sure.
There is a study that there are a few studies that have been done which show that individuals living in rural Ghana are actually consuming more calories than people living in urban Ghana. Okay. Now, you would have thought that it would be the other way around, that because you're in an urbanized community, because of the food availability, you'd be eating more. But no, it's actually the other way around. So you might think that, people living in rural Ghana, they don't have these metabolic conditions, they are healthy because they eat a lot of the... But no, are you sure? You have the stats. Now the stats are showing people living in rural Ghana, and we see a lot of people in rural Ghana come with diabetes. You might wonder, but isn't this person physically active? Well, they are. Some of them are overnourished, but also remember we talked about the type 5 diabetes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is also one thing to consider. Now, in terms of aging, there is a substantial amount of muscle loss that comes with aging. Okay, and a person's degree of physical activity really plays into a person's metabolic health. And muscle is something that we really need to preserve. And as a person ages, they tend to naturally lose their muscle mass if they do not put those muscles to use. Okay, so regular exercise is a very important thing. Regular physical activity, if we're looking at aerobic training, which is just one aspect of fitness, aerobic fitness or cardiorespiratory fitness, we have ACSM guidelines, the American College of Sports Medicine, where we are looking at 150 minimum to 300 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity per week. If we're looking at vigorous intensity exercise, it's at least 75 minutes per week. Now you might be wondering, how can I tell if this physical activity is moderate intensity or vigorous intensity? Well, you might need to work with your exercise professional for more specific details. However, we have the talk test. So if a person is, let's say, walking, doing their leisurely stroll, or let's talk about exercise. So with exercise, you are planning.
Okay, so time is not on our side. We would like to ask, what small change can viewers start today to reduce the risk? We'll end with this question.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a good thing that you're asking this question because I have a song to summarize.
Yes, we have a song for you.
I have a song to summarize.
Okay. Doc wants to surprise us today. Hey!
Okay, so I'm going to ask everyone in the studio to help me with the timing. First of all, let me check my instrument. Okay. So I want everyone to clap like this.
Doc, today you came prepared, though.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
So just keep that timing for me. Good. Okay. So this is the diabetes song. Keep the timing for me. All right. Okay. So this is just a summary.
Did I keep going?
Right? Keep going. D stands for doctor. Oh no, a little slower. Good. So we're going to spell out every letter in diabetes.
Okay.
Good. D stands for doctor. Listen to your doctor.
Ooh.
That apple a day.
Hey.
Keep me away. I stands for indifferent.
Okay.
Be mindful of your health. Get screened regularly so you can live long. A stands for nothing. 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 Okay, let's go on. Be body composition. Maintain a good weight so you can be lean and have a head of steam. E for exercise. Moderate intensity. 150 to 300 is where you should be aiming. B stands for time, bedtime, fun time, no stress time. E stands for eating, low fat, moderate carb, good protein. S stands for smoking. That's tobacco. For diabetes, it's gotta go.
Wow, that was very, very interesting. You came prepared today.
Maybe.
Wow, that was fabulous. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
If you joined our conversation, well, this was Lifestyle segment on the Koko Digest Morning Show, and thank you so much. I hope you learned a lot. I had so much fun. Doc,
oh, did you?
did?
Okay. Yeah, I did as well.
I had so much fun. It was good doing this with you. We'll catch you same time next week on the show. I think there's a birthday message for us. Okay, so this is from, is it Jlo or JLO? He says that happy birthday to my son, Kofi. May God continue to bless you in everything that you do. Amen to all your secret prayers. And this is I'm wishing everyone out there, if today is your birthday, I'm wishing you a very, very happy birthday. So this is how we end the Lifestyle segment on the Koko Digest Morning Show. Thank you so much for staying with us.